Hello, Matt.
How are we?
I'm alright, yeah. I just thought I'd start now, since you were all... Oh, start when you want. How about now, mother trucker?
Now's fine for me. Now's always fine for me.
Good, I should hope so.
I'm prepared 24/7 for podcasting.
Oh, yeah?
Apart from the hours when I'm asleep.
Yeah.
Which is usually about 12 to 14.
Or busy. Just busy, yeah.
I can podcast on the go. It's one of my skills.
Oh, yeah? Alright then.
It is.
No, yeah, I'm sure
frown,
it is.
Don't hate.
No, it's fine. It's a good skill to have. I always thought that's why I employed you into my company, tfcpodcast.com.
Whoa.
The company I started. Incorporated that. It's an LLC.
Not quite true.
I used legalzoom.com. So
Use the co-road.
yeah. Use the code word Phil. That's PHIL. What does that stand for? Philip. Thanks.
Oh, stop it.
Yeah. Not really, but if they do want to sponsor us, then that'd be really cool.
Money
I think
I'm
just going to start doing ads at the start of this, and then if they want to sort of accept them,
Why would they then start paying for that service?
Go on, let's not.
Why would they do that?
I don't know. Just we'll see. More fool them though.
Definitely more fool them.
How do you feel about audiobooks?
Yeah, I like them.
Yeah.
I like using them. When I'm in the car,
Good to know.
put them on, pop one of them on.
When you're exercising.
Yeah, when I'm working
you just
out,
take
when I'm
on
doing my
info.
kettlebells.
Yeah. I'll get onto kettlebells.
I like the new whatchamacallit where it pauses where you are.
Oh, Whisper Sync.
And then you can,
Yeah.
Great job from
Audible.com.
Audible, yeah.
Yeah. Use the code word TFC there. That won't work.
Get yourself a free book.
Yeah.
If enough people try it, they'll be confused.
I'm sure they'll incorporate it. Welcome to TLDR, the Internet Digest. This is the podcast where we summarise the internet, basically. The internet's so massive. Have you ever noticed how big the internet is?
To say summarise the internet might be aiming a little too high.
People think that's overzealous. I don't think so. I think that's accurate.
I think at most we'll talk 5 to 6 topics. And every second on the internet is probably at least that being published.
Yeah. I read a statistic about...
Boring.
No, I did. I read a statistic about how many videos are uploaded per day and stuff like that. Can't remember what it was, but it blew my mind. I was like, wow, that's impressive.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, yeah, that's the sort of stat we're talking about.
I love that you saved that for the podcast. You didn't tell me that earlier.
I thought...
You saved that for our listeners?
Yeah.
Fuck
Actually,
me.
I did read that statistic a few years ago, so that's probably out of date now. That probably would
Even
only now
better,
say, ooh, no longer up. Whoa. But anyway, we, use the internet, you and I.
Yeah, on occasion.
So we both have the odd article, video, picture, whatever, that we look at and go, oh, look at that, whoa, wow, oh, look at that. And then loads that we look at and go, oh, that's shit.
That is awful.
So what we do, this is the process, we ignore the ones that we don't like, and then the ones that we really do like, we talk about those. And then you only get, as a result of that, you only get the best ones, the cream of the crop.
But the best according to us. Which isn't
the
really
best.
what you want.
Yeah.
But take it or leave it, take it or leave it, take it or leave it.
The first one that caught my eye, though, comes from actually my favourite website.
Pornhub.com.
Guess again.
Xvideos.
Guess again.
Redtube.com.
My favourite porn website is Xvideos.
You're a big proponent of Xvideos, aren't you?
Well, I think it doesn't get enough coverage in the
Motherless
press.
24/7.
Motherless is alright.
Motherless all-time top favourite puke compilation. Yes, please. 28 minutes
The
of
thing about
puking.
Motherless is that it's quite weird.
Keeps you on your toes. I like that about pornography.
Have you heard of the Alexa ranking?
No.
It's a rank of all of the websites in the world according to page views. Number 1 is Google, Facebook's number 2. Xvideos is the highest ranked porn site, so
really?
Vindicated.
I stumbled on some new porn the other day. Yeah. I don't want to go off on a porn tangent.
New genre.
But it was... You have to pay for it, so I only did the free thingy. But you control what's going on, sort of. So it's like point of view, and you're like a teacher, and it's like, oh, suck my dick.
I've heard of those.
And it looked quite good. I was getting quite into it. The interface was great. You're very user-friendly.
Oh, yeah? What? Are you talking about, like, shortcuts or...?
Oh, all sorts.
Just using the mouse?
It was great.
Can you use voice commands? That'd really improve it for me.
That would be good.
One hand on the nipples, and the other where it usually is, anus.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. That would be ideal.
Yeah. All I have to say is, Siri, tell the surrogate porn actor that I'm controlling to take off the other person's trousers. And then Siri,
It'd be a weird advance, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Actually, we're going to talk about porn later on. Well,
hello.
Sort of sex and technology later on. Let's save this because
brilliant.
This is coming up. I'll talk about that first if you want. After this,
story. Breaking.
This is my favourite website, tfcpodcast.com. Have you heard of those great guys over at tfcpodcast.com?
I've heard great things from other people. I've not checked out their stuff yet, but
why?
It's been blowing up all over.
Social network.
Well, everywhere really. Social networks, word of mouth.
Yeah.
Grandmother was like, "Have you checked it out?" I was like, "No, don't know what it is."
Did you ask her to say it?
No, I wouldn't tell her that it exists if I knew about it.
The thing about tfcpodcast.com is that I've always thought that all they did was award-winning podcasts, and you can check they have won awards.
How many?
I can't remember off the top of my head, but I can say that the awards were given by tfcpodcast.com. But anyway, I didn't realise that they actually do news as well.
Have they broken into journalism?
Well, not only have they broken into journalism, they've broken a story.
Bloody hell.
I was watching Britain's Got Talent, which is...
Sheep! What? Yeah,
I mean, this is the
system. I don't watch television, whatever. I'm better than everybody else.
This was the finale, and it was actually
we were watching it together.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, you put it on. It's the first episode I've ever seen.
It was on before the football. What else can I do?
But a band performed two mix.
Little Mix.
Little Mix. Where did I get?
Two Mix. That just sounds like a shitty snack mix selection.
Where you only get two things.
Yeah, you just get
you only get those dry
peas.
noodles and chickpeas.
I quite like that. You can get the bags with just the noodles.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
Something else. They're all right, but it gets a bit claggy in the mouth
after about 4 handfuls. You sort of start hating yourself.
You go through it anyway. We
bought these M&Ms earlier, and I realised that after about 5 or 6 M&Ms, I feel really bad.
Yeah, I've had a headache for about 2 hours.
Yeah, I'm still gonna.
I woke up this morning. I thought I'm going to eat really well. I'm going to eat really clean today. Had a nice bit of grilled salmon and a salad. Ooh. I drank about 3 pints of water. And then the past 5 hours, we've just sat here drinking beer and eating M&Ms. So it sort of completely fucked the system. But you know, everything in moderation.
Well, that's you and me, isn't it? Fuck the system. We're renegades. That's what TFC is all about. That's what TLDR is all about. Anyway, Little Mix performed their song Salute. And then at the end of it, David Williams, one of the judges, decided to get up and do a salute. Bear in mind, today is D-Day.
And respect to all the veterans listening.
Yeah. Anyway, just move on from that. Bearing in mind today's D-Day, and therefore, if you were going to choose a salute, really anything but the Nazi salute is fine. I
would probably 2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up, yeah.
I'd go, good job.
I'd go, well done. This is my
fucking
salute to you. But Williams, though, did the Nazi salute, which is a bit crazy.
The old, that is a strange
one to choose, but you know, more power to him. He's a great guy.
He really frustrates me on Britain's Got Talent.
Why?
Because he loves everything.
Oh, does he?
And it really bothers me. I quite like David Williams. I was shocked that he was straight, as was everybody. But
what?
Yeah, he's got a wife. He's got quite an attractive wife.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, this will be quite a nice little judge. He'll do a good job. Yeah. Oh, he fucking loves everybody.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
He made.
Oh, I love you. Fuck off.
You know,
hate some. You've got to hate somebody, even the people that are obviously shit. He goes, oh, well, I'm glad you've came, but
taking part is really all.
Yeah, it's going to be a no from me. But you've done a really good job. You've done yourself proud. Fucking just say he's shit. He knows he's shit. It's the whole point of auditions is that people have their lives and hopes and dreams crushed for my entertainment.
I thought that was the point. Yeah. But you know, Williams, earlier on, Calabro were on, or whatever, the male band.
The band that I said, if they won, I would eat my own shit.
And then they did win.
And they went and won the whole thing.
So I'm still waiting on that.
Yeah, video evidence will be provided. Never! Ha!
But he stood up and gave a little applause, and then he said, oh no, I can't stand up, and then looked at his crush and sat back down. I thought that was a joke about him being gay, but now you're telling me he's got a wife.
Did he actually make a weird
Yeah,
erection
he made
joke?
an erection joke. I mean, maybe that was just me projecting.
He is obviously camp, and he camps around, and he loves all the dancey acts and the overly
Nazis.
gay people.
Yeah.
And you think, well, you know, this is your sort of shtick.
Yeah.
But he just fucking loves everybody. And it drives me insane.
Well,
You've got to hate somebody.
Not-
Amanda Holden is a vapid bitch, and I hate her. But they all just love everybody. Even Simon Cowell doesn't hate anybody anymore. His whole career on television has been hating people. Going, well, you're really shit.
Yeah.
It's the worst thing I've ever seen. But now he's just like, oh yeah, it's not very good. Yeah, I don't really like that.
Do you think that's because he's mellowed out, or has he like lost his integrity or something?
I don't think he gives a shit anymore. He's made more money than he'll ever need.
Yeah.
He's got a kid. He's got a wife, girlfriend, whatever. He doesn't need to be doing this.
That must be the thing about making that much money, is that you get to a point where, I mean, I know this from podcasting. You get to a point where you've made more money than you'll ever need. And you've peaked. And you think to yourself, like, well, maybe I could quit now. I've got all the Audible money, all the legal Zoom money. Maybe I could just call it quits, call it a day, retire. But the prospect must still be there to, like, well, you know, stay along and you'll keep making $1 million a day. I know you don't need it, but there it is.
Money's one of those things, isn't it? Even though you know full well that you have enough and you have more than
and
you
that
ever
you don't
need
need it, and all you need is love.
You want more, and you want more and more and more. And he's got to the point where he doesn't need it. He doesn't need to be on television. He's on television to further his own interests of making more money, keeping ratings high.
That's why he was on television to begin with, though, to sort of launch his record company. And
yeah, but he was a very successful person before that.
Yeah.
And he came on and said, I can fill a niche here. I can be that bad guy.
Yeah.
Be that person that everyone goes, boo! He told that 6-year-old they were fucking dog shit. But now
then Ramsey came along.
Now he doesn't even do that, yeah. Ramsey's the TV bad guy now.
Yeah, yeah.
And he does the job excellently.
Who's next, do you reckon? Me or you? To be
Probably
TV
me.
bad guy? You.
Probably
I'll
me.
be good cop then.
Yeah.
We should have a talent show on tfcpodcast.com.
Yeah.
If you have a talent, send in your audition tapes as a video reply to this on YouTube. And
we'll laugh at you on air.
Yeah.
Unless you're really good, then we'll, I don't know, manage you
Well,
or something.
why don't you invariably hate them and I'll invariably really like them?
Yeah, and that can be our sort of dynamic.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that'll take off probably.
Cool. What have you got anyway for TLDR, the Internet
Oh,
Digest?
I've got all sorts. I've got bloody so much. As we've started on quite a novel, low down, not very serious.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep it on that tone for now.
Oh, good.
Because at the very end of the last episode, we were a bit like, it's a bit serious.
Yeah.
That's not what TFC has been in the past. And
Yeah.
you know, it's not. But love us or hate us, this is who we are. Burglars.
Yeah.
I love them. Doing a great job keeping the burglar alarms system. They're just not really working.
Yeah.
Burglars still exist.
Yeah.
But they broke into a house,
Oh no.
as they do, those
Here we go.
burglars.
Yeah. God.
And they thought they'd stumbled on a big old load of cocaine.
Yeah.
But it turned out to be a man and his 2 Great Danes' ashes.
Oh.
And so they snorted these ashes,
Yeah.
thinking it was coke. And they went, oh no, what are we going to do now? And so they took the ashes and threw them in a lake.
What?
Yeah, it was great. They thought they'd found a load of drugs, but it was ashes.
At what point did they realise that it was ashes? When they didn't feel high?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? If you do a drug,
Yeah.
which you're 100% convinced it's a drug,
Yeah.
you're most likely to get a placebo effect if you've ever done
Yeah,
that
that's
drug
what
before.
I thought. But then, why would you even consider that this sort of probably grey powder would be cocaine, which I believe is white?
Well, that's the thing. I have never kept any cocaine in a small commemorative urn that says "Rip Dad" on it.
Yeah.
Rip Dad, Buster, and Spot.
Yeah.
I mean, it probably would be a good place to hide your cocaine.
Also, buy 3 urns. Don't know how
Put them all in
fucking
one.
skimpy is that. I'll just mix them together.
Just stir 'em
Get a
up-
couple of
stir up the
chopsticks,
pot.
stir it up.
But even if I thought it was coke, they're probably hiding coke in there.
Yeah.
If I get it out, rack up a line of grey, flaky, obvious ash.
Yeah.
I go, no, I'm not gonna snort that up the old nose.
This must have been like the first time they'd ever done coke, presumably because they, thought this was coke and it clearly wasn't. So why would you break into a house, see a drug you've never done before, and think, right, now's the time. Now is the
do all
time
of
to
this.
break into cocaine.
I found probably a good kilo of cocaine here.
Yeah. I think I heard someone getting up upstairs, and I should probably go. But I would like a buzz.
It's a weird one. I believe they threw the ashes in the river.
Yeah.
Because they had their fingerprints all over them. They thought about taking them back.
Yeah,
so we found these. Are these yours? But no, they didn't in the end.
No.
This story did remind me of, Keith Richards, famous drug addict stroke musician. Do you remember?
Which one you put first there? That tells a lot about him.
Do you remember many years ago he admitted to snorting his dad's ashes?
No, I don't remember that.
Well,
actually, I do vaguely remember that.
Basically, he was talking about his drug use, and he was asked about the strangest thing he'd ever done.
Yeah.
And his response was, the strange thing I've ever tried to snort, my father, I snorted my father.
Ashes.
Yeah, he was cremated and I couldn't resist grinding him up with a little bit of blow.
Why?
My dad wouldn't have cared, he didn't give a shit, it went down pretty well and I'm still alive.
That's a damaged person, that is.
That's drug addiction at its height.
I mean, it's not only drug addiction though, it's also, because he had coke, the ashes didn't add anything to it.
No, he was just being a bit of a cunt.
Yeah. I don't think that's just like, oh, I need to get high. What I'll do is I'll use this limited supply of drugs that I have, not buy any more drugs, and add something to it that won't affect it. It
went down dreadfully.
Yeah.
So he said, it was an April Fool's, but like a couple of years later, he said, actually, no, it wasn't. This is his quote, which is brilliant. He said, I opened my dad's ashes and some of them blew out over the table just because of the suction of the lid, you know what I mean? I looked at my dad's ashes down there and thought, what am I going to do? Do I desecrate them with a dustbin and broom? So I wet me finger and I shoved a little bit of me dad up me hooter. The rest of them I put round an oak tree.
Not anus. Nose.
The rest of them I put round an oak tree, which is coming up a treat.
Well, surely that is the solution. You've thought, right, I've accidentally spilt loads of ashes here. I suppose the only thing for me to do is snort them. Oh no, wait a minute, I could probably bury them with a tree. So you do that, but then you think, since I had the idea to snort them, I might as well snort a few.
Still a little bit.
Yeah, just 8 or 9 ashes.
Still a whole line.
Yeah.
I can't imagine it does anything at all. Will it even dissolve?
Oh, you can't imagine it does anything at all.
Yeah. Like, obviously you won't get any kind of high off it, but if you try and snort somebody's ashes...
It's just carbon, isn't it? I wonder...
Yeah.
A second. Is carbon
will it dissolve
soluble?
In your nose? I doubt it will at that volume. A tiniest amount will.
Yeah.
But I doubt it will fully go up.
Is carbon soluble in water? It is carbon, isn't it, Ash?
Yeah.
That's what that is. Click to see answer, okay. No! This is a brilliant website. wiki.answers.com. You get this huge thing that takes up the whole page. Is carbon soluble in water? Click to see answer. Just says in capitals, no, full stop. Brilliant. So no, it wouldn't have done anything then.
Have you ever dabbled in the cocaine, Phil?
Have I? No.
As podcasters, I mean, it is laid on pretty reg basis.
I mean, we often will go to a venue to do a live show, and they'll say, "What do you want? You paying blow or money?" I'll always say money.
Yeah.
And you usually say blow.
I usually say blow. Yeah.
That doesn't really happen. We've never done a live podcast.
No.
Obviously.
Very few people offer us payment in blow. Yeah.
You have though taken cocaine, haven't you?
A bit.
What's it like?
Great, but also terrifying.
What does it smell like?
Doesn't really smell like anything.
Oh, that's always been my question. What does cocaine smell like? But
doesn't really smell like. Reed Fox, Reed Fox, the comedian.
Yeah.
His famous quote was, "I don't snort cocaine. I just like the way it smells."
Wow.
Flavor Flav used to spend $2,600 a day on coke.
A day?
No wonder he went broke.
Christ.
No wonder he fucking went broke.
Who's that? Flavor Flav?
Flavor Flav, big clock.
Yeah, he's...
broke, yeah.
He needs what's-his-face by his side. What's his face? What's his name? What's his face name? What's him a jig? What's him a face?
Flavor Flav's mate?
Yeah, his mate.
Yeah,
He's off of Public Enemy. D the Destroyer, whatever his name is. He needs him.
Yeah, Drax the Destroyer. Yeah, he needs him just hanging about.
Yeah, he needs a guardian, because otherwise he'll just take all his teeth out and put yellow ones in and have a show
just
and
knob about, really.
Yeah,
just be a bit of a caricature of himself.
Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it? I hope I never become that. I hope the fame never does that to me.
I mean, I accept that it'll go to my head, but What's a man to do?
Yeah, but I'll be there for you, and I'll pull you through.
Thanks. Thank you very much.
That's all right. Don't worry about it.
It's nice.
I've recently converted to Mormonism.
Really? What got you interested in that?
Well, I just talked to a Facebook friend about Mormonism, and she seems to love it. Do you want to, is it wrong of me to read out about this conversation?
No.
Is this a bad idea?
No, it's public, isn't it?
No.
Yeah, well, yeah, it is.
Okay, hang on a second. I'm going to scroll up a bit.
While you do that, let me just tell you a funny Ashes story.
Go on then.
I'll keep the names...
Is this to do with cricket?
No, I'll keep the names blanked out because...
Yeah. Swap the names out.
Certain people
Swap all the names to Ron.
Right, well, a friend of mine, Ron...
Oh, Ron!
We're talking about ashes.
Yeah.
And he said when he was a young kid, he knocked over the urn of his grandfather's ashes onto the floor. Like, half of it came out. And instead of, like, telling his mother or doing anything about it, he hoovered them up.
Oh, no.
Put the lid back on, and to this day, nobody knows.
Really? Is this onto a carpet?
I mean, that must be haunting.
Literally.
That must be terrible. Like,
hang on a second. Hang on a sec. Say that must be haunting again.
That must be haunting. Oh.
We now have a small drum set in Studio B.
In studio sound effects, motherfucker.
Yeah. That's not even a set, that's an actual drum set.
That is an actual drum.
It's a toy drum set.
Yeah, but it still counts.
It's a nice pink, which I like. Right, here's the conversation with Ron that I had on Facebook earlier on. This is what turned me on to Mormonism.
Please, continue.
So I asked Ron what religion he is. Jane, I guessed. I was wrong. He said Mormon. I've already said it was a woman. I've already said it was a girl. She said Ronnie.
Ronnie.
Ronnie, the female spelling. And I asked her how she feels about other religions. She's American. She's from Wisconsin. And I just wanted to get a feel. I think you told me to ask this, actually.
Yeah, I'm quite interested in religion as a whole.
Yeah, I am.
So I thought, ask.
I'm a worldly guy. I'm spiritual. And she said other religions are fine. I said, what about the Hindus? Have you ever met a Hindu? And she said, that depends. I said, what does it depend on? And she said she doesn't know what their beliefs are. So I said, they believe that everybody is God. Admittedly, a bit of a bastardisation.
Yeah,
of an entire
Hindus
culture.
listening would probably go...
But then she said, weird. So I said, IKR, I know, right?
Yeah.
Do you hate them, ? She said, kinda, ? I said, why? What do they do to you? She said, they go against my beliefs. I said, can't we all live in harmony? And she said, yes, but there are some beliefs that aren't okay. And I said, why? And she said, because they go against others.
Religion.
I said, but your beliefs go against theirs. Doesn't that make your beliefs not okay? And she said, no, that makes theirs not okay. I said, why? She said, because mine are tried and true. And then I said, Hinduism is a lot older than Christianity, and especially older than Mormonism, which is only a few hundred years old. She said, so? And I said, oh yeah, that's a good point. And then she said, Mormonism is Christ's church that disappeared after his death. And then I just thought I'd get a bit more info on it. So I said, since you probably know Mormonism better than most people, can I ask you a question about it? She said, of course. So I said, is it the one true religion? That was my question. I thought I might as well...
question.
Yeah, I might as well
if you're going to ask
cover
a question,
everything,
go
all
for
bases.
that.
What do you think she said?
I imagine she was, probably.
She said, yes, it is. It's a denomination of Christianity, but yes, it is the true church. I said, how did you get involved with it? Long story. I said, go on. She said, I found out...
She's a little tease.
Yeah, I know,
yeah,
plain difficult to get. She said, I found out about it on my own. I researched it for 3 years. And I said, what attracted you to Mormonism? She said, my junior year of high school and the basic beliefs and values. I said, is Joseph Smith like a white Muhammad? And she said, yeah.
Blaspheming all over the shop here.
And then we talked about the South Park musical, Book of Mormon, for a while. And what she
meant
loves.
to be great. If any fans can get me a ticket
and
any time after September, that's when I'll be back in London. Thank you very much.
She eventually told me that the reason that she got into Mormonism and what introduced her to Mormonism is that she did a project on Joseph Smith in AP US history. Joseph Smith being the 14-year-old con artist who invented Mormonism in, the 1800s? Yeah. No offence to any Mormons listening.
But it's a bit...
Choose a better religion.
Yeah, it's a strange
There are loads
religion.
of really good religions.
Like, obviously I don't really fully understand religion because I don't have any faith.
Yeah,
but when you bump into like religious people like this who have such a closed mind to everything else,
Yeah.
Like, you're not a secular thinker in any way here.
Well, this
you
is...
just go, well, yeah, it's the best one, and I hate all other religions because they go against my beliefs.
This is the problem with religion for me, is that religion in itself, I'm quite a fan of. I think religion is quite good, but the only religion that we get exposed to here in England is like, you know, the proponents of the Abrahamic religions filtered through this Western culture of ours, and it's like most people who feel the need to talk about their religion tend to do so badly. So our impression of religion is all like, oh, they're idiots. They believe in they believe in things that aren't true. You know, there's no such thing as Jesus. He didn't walk on water. Why do you believe in fairy tales and all that? But then that's like, I think it's almost like judging all chocolates on just Revels.
Yeah.
One of the worst chocolates. Because the coffee flavoured ones.
I like coffee chocolate, but deal with it, motherfuckers.
It's like judging all chocolates on only those little Hershey Kisses.
Yeah.
I think chocolate is really, really, really sweet
Really
and quite horrible and sugary.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Religion, obviously, it's been around for thousands and thousands of years. There's a lot of good to it. But people use it as a tool for other means, for power, control, money, etc.
Yeah, but that's also true of screwdrivers. Screwdrivers are really useful, but then people use them to stab each other in the eye.
Yeah.
And if in like 20 years'
time... But that's the thing you have to accept with screwdrivers. You have to go, yeah, well, this is really useful for me, and I'm going to keep one in my cupboard, because I might need to do a screw. But occasionally, maybe 4 or 5 people a year are going to get stabbed with them, whatever.
But this is like, let's say in 100 years' time, screwdrivers completely fall out of favour because everything's 3D printed. You never need to screw anything anymore. So all screwdrivers are known for 100 years from now, in this weird future that I've imagined, is stabbing people in the eyes. So you think screwdrivers are terrible, they're awful, they're only good for stabbing people in the eyes, we should just get rid of them. But then what you don't realise is that screwdrivers built this city, man. Along with rock and roll. Yeah. Screwdrivers. Hey dude, listen. Hey bro, screwdrivers are why you're here today. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do know what you're saying. But there comes a point when, if screwdrivers are redundant, surely we should put them in a museum and go, this is what we used to do and it was really great, but now we do this?
Yeah, but...
I'm not arguing for the abolishment of all religion here. I think religion is quite good. I think atheism is awful.
Yes, so do I, yeah. But I think it's more a case of, like, admitting that screwdrivers as they are now, to continue the analogy, are being used in a wrong way.
Yeah.
So let's take the good things of screwdrivers and maybe
live
with those.
You're arguing for the evolution of religion. Is that religion isn't working 100% now, so let's take the thousands of years of historical goodness from them.
Yeah, I think sort that out. Yeah. I shouldn't
sort
be too
it all out,
difficult. I won't do it.
If someone else could get onto that,
yeah,
and then tweet us if you've done that, that would be great.
I mean, you could argue that that's already happened loads of times over and over again, but it's just people who are... I think the really early forms of like Christianity and stuff like that are very useful for a lot of people and very romantic for a lot of people, so a lot of people want to hang on to them. But then you've got all sorts of movements and schools of thought and stuff like that which don't identify as religions, but which you could call religions, and which are based on religions, which do fulfill this idea of the evolution of religion, but you never hear about them because they don't catch on, because they don't recruit. Like I've been reading about Zen Buddhism recently, and it's pretty nifty. It's quite cool.
Yeah.
But the problem is that obviously they don't recruit. They just think, well, you can be enlightened if you want, or you don't have to be. Whatever, I don't care.
Yeah.
So they don't. There are no Zen missionaries or anything like that. There's no Zen Bible. There are barely any religious texts. Like, one of the things that they do is they burn their own religious texts to say, like, it's not about the written word, it's about the practice and stuff like that. So they don't... That's the problem of the evolution of religion.
Bit showy, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit annoying. I'm quite upset with that.
They're just doing that for retweets, I think, at this point.
Just doing it for clicks.
Oh, we don't even care, just burn it, whatever. It's all about practice,
Instagram. But, like, the problem is that once you strip religion of all the things that are, you know, bad about it, you also strip it of all of its marketability. Like, religion, the bad things about religion are that it's forced upon other people, it's full of bullshit that's just made to keep it going and stuff like that.
Yeah.
When you get rid of those things, then it doesn't survive anymore. Or it survives in a more ideal, better form, but that more ideal, better form isn't as identifiable, isn't as concrete, isn't as... You know,
but isn't
that is much better.
Isn't that what will naturally happen over time?
I mean, you could argue that it has naturally happened over time, because our culture is full of things that we don't realise are distilled versions of old mythologies and religions.
But with the advancement of everything else within society, we're much more connected with everybody else in the world.
Yeah.
The ideas that your community could tell you this is the way to be don't really exist anymore, except in very close-knit communities, very fundamentalist places. And
I think they don't exist, though.
Yeah, they exist.
In indirect ways, I think. It's more a case of... I mean, Reddit is one of the most popular websites in the world. The key feature of that is upvotes and downvotes, telling people what you think is acceptable and not acceptable. We still modulate each other. It's just less direct now.
Yeah, but we do that with less harm to others. It's not like, well, you're allowed to beat women. Like 50 years ago, we wouldn't bat an eyelid if you beat the shit out of your wife. Now you sort of frown upon it.
It's not great. It's not the best
that's
thing to
probably
do.
not best. Don't do that. Nobody does anything about it.
Well, yeah.
Like, women couldn't vote in America until like 1920 or something. So really, democracy has only existed in America for 100 years.
Yeah.
So these things change, and these actively putting down a whole group of society changes. And yes, certain opinions aren't well liked, but now these opinions are not, let's not beat women.
Yeah.
They're, Nickelback is shit, aren't they? And if you don't think Nickelback is shit, then you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Well, I don't care. Like, Nickelback aren't great, but I don't think they're terrible.
Yeah.
But it doesn't affect me in any way. I'm not feeling awful every day of my life. I'm not wiping out whole swathes of people with bullshit texts from the past.
Things like that are just it's just one of those things where, right, everything in the world for a lot of people is going really swimmingly at the minute. We've got nothing really to be upset about. Let's just invent something to be upset about.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like Dane Cook. His comedy only makes me laugh lots, not loads.
Yeah.
Downvote. You know, it's like, it's not the worst thing that's ever happened.
Did you ever see the episode of Louis with Dane Cook on?
Yeah, yeah.
It's really interesting.
It was quite good.
But that's the thing, like, religion historically has been much more fundamental than it is now.
I don't know, I'm not even sure about that.
I think that's definitely true.
Well, no, I mean, it is true in the sense that it's a different sort of fundamentalism now, because now, if you're a fundamentalist religious person, then you're fundamentalist despite the culture that you live in. Yeah. But back then, you were fundamentalist because of the culture you live in.
Depends where you live.
Yeah.
Somewhere like Saudi Arabia, fundamentalist Islam is probably still the norm.
Yeah, it's the norm. It is the norm, but then there's probably far more outside influence than there ever has been saying your religion is bullshit, your religion is bullshit.
Yeah, definitely.
They're even more aware of other religions than people ever have been. Yeah. In the past, like, let's rewind 1,000 years or whatever, and you've got whatever rudimentary forms of Christianity existed back then. It would have been fundamental in the sense that that's just how life was in that village or town that you lived in.
But this is what I'm saying about the advancement of society.
Yeah.
Is the fact that we are now so much more connected in. You could live, even 150 years ago, within a 10-mile radius of your house.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't exist. Now you have the option, whether you take it or not, whether your community says it's a good idea or not.
Yeah.
The option is there to see endless amounts of information from all over the world.
Yeah.
And so naturally, like, inquisitive minds will question. And whether that leads to nothing, now, whether you go, oh, well, what about this pastor? And he goes, oh, that shit, don't listen to that internet.
Yeah.
In 20, 30 years down the line, that's not going to be the case. So it's going to progressively differ.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think that being a part of a global culture divorces us from ideology, because people have always. No,
it doesn't divorce us of it, but it gives us an option not to be a part of that. And then you're actively choosing to be that if you want to be that. It's only a very minor percentage of Christianity, for instance.
Yeah.
If you look at, like, the Bible Belt of America, yeah, they're clued into everything, but it's their culture that they are the way they are, and that's fine. You can choose not to be. The options are there for you not to be, but the options are there that you are, and you take those options. Like, it's up to you to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's always going to be pressure and influence and culture and society and environment, and those are going to affect who you are as a person. But there are so many more outs now than there ever have been before.
But are they really outs, though? Because I feel like it's always been the case that people feel as if they're not a part of an ideology. They don't have an ideology because what they believe is true. And we might feel that now, like watching Cosmos on TV or like reading about science or whatever. We might feel like, well, I'm not a part of ideology because what I believe is just factually true. That's just all there is to it. But people have always thought that.
Yeah, but there's a difference between things with empirical evidence.
Yeah, but I just...
actively true. Like, there are so many scientific theories that we take for granted and take to be true that have very little empirical evidence, and those are the ones you have to question, and those are the ones you have to look at the other side of that as well.
But even valuing empirical evidence over subjective opinion or whatever, even that is an ideology.
Yeah, but
and it's no argument to say, yeah, but I'm right. I mean, I agree with you, but like...
Yeah, no, but I think fact is fact. Like, you can't argue with facts to a certain extent.
Well, you can, though. You can argue about the objectivity of truth and all of that. It's been argued about over and over again, and no conclusion has ever been reached because there is no answer. There's no objective truth. Like, there's no objective universe. The only universe that exists is the observable universe, which is relative. And so the only facts that exist are relative to the person describing them. So you're always going to be a part of ideology or whatever. But it's just, A, really difficult to even see that, and B, if you ever see that, it's scary and like weird, so you don't want to admit it.
But I think you have to... Well, you don't have to, but it seems to me naturally easier to buy into ideologies with relative truth to them.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have to take a leap of faith with things that are in front of me in concrete and have vague evidence within the world and the scope of knowledge that we have as a species. Like, that isn't difficult. Whereas the idea, this is all meaningless.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. It's
difficult.
I'm not even criticising ideology. I'm just saying it's good to recognise that whether you believe it or not, it's very likely that you do live your life by some sort of mythology. Like if we look at past cultures and we say, oh, well, they had their symbols and stuff, and it was all bullshit. And oh, Vishnu didn't exist. Look at Vishnu. What idiots thought Vishnu exists? But then, if you imagine people looking at our culture 2,000, 3,000 years from now, they'll see the little picture of the atom, and they'll say, "What is this? What are these lines all around?" There's no such thing. That's not what an atom really looks like. That's just some sort of fantastical representation. To us, it isn't fantastical. It's very mundane.
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
Just an image. But to people like thousands of years from now, completely divorced from our culture with no real context, they'll see a lot of our ways of describing the universe as poetic, even though we don't. We see it as being pure prose and purely factual and stuff like that. They'll see it as being poetic because they're not.
Yeah, I think to explain anything to anybody other than 10 incredibly well-read people, you have to have some kind of
some sort of anchor.
Yeah,
you need. I mean, this is why I'm saying I'm not criticising mythology or ideology or anything like that. You need it. It's just that it's probably healthier to recognise that you're in that rather than thinking that you've escaped it. Because when you think that you've escaped it and you think, oh, well, I'm super intelligent and I believe only in the truth, like the whole ardent atheist shit, then you're just like no smarter than anyone. You're just an idiot, really.
You have
not you, but the people
who have to be open.
Yeah, you do.
I find it very difficult to lay my hat on anything 100% because it doesn't work.
Yeah.
You have to be inquisitive about everything, and it doesn't feel natural for me to just go, well, this is it now, and then close the door on it.
Yeah, you can never. I mean, the universe is infinite, so you ask you answer one question, you
Open
automatically
so
ask 5 more. You know, you're never ever going to get an answer.
But that's fascinating. I think that's fascinating.
Yeah, it is. It's fun to do. It's enjoyable. Like, I'm not saying we shouldn't do it. I'm just describing the process.
But yeah, imagery will always exist to a certain extent.
Yeah, that's what we are. That's our brains are organs of language and meaning. Yeah. So,
and you're always going to have to express what you think, what you believe.
Yeah.
To others, unless you keep it massively internalised forever. But if you want to advance it and say, well, I've discovered everything,
you have to do it by analogy. You have to.
You have to, and historically, it's always been the way Plato, all his myths and caves and all that malarkey. Yeah. His use of imagery was because they lived in a very sort of aristocracy-based society, sort of.
Yeah.
You know, you could get into that as a whole different debate, but you had your plebeian classes and you had your learned, educated people, and to pass on that knowledge, what else are you going to do but word of mouth and story and myth? And that's where a lot of these myths come from. And it's the same, I think, with the Bible and with any sort of form of religious, well, not any form of religious scripture, but your main books of religious scripture. Anything out of this world, miracles, etc., walking on water, this and that. It's all analogy and imagery to show a much bigger story, but people get bogged down in the imagery, in the story, and in the Noah's Ark, and we had 2 giraffes, and you sing it at primary school, and you're getting bogged down in the story of it rather than what it's teaching you.
Have you heard of Joseph Campbell?
No.
A mythology guy. He had a really good quote about this. He said that the mistake a lot of people make when it comes to religion and mythology is that they get bogged down on the denotations, not the connotations, or maybe the other way around, I can't remember. But he said it's basically a literary mistake, because you're saying it's like you say, like you're looking at the animals in the story rather than the story, or whatever it is, you know. Like you're saying, oh, man doesn't have one fewer ribs than woman. That's got to be bullshit. But you're not realising what that story is trying to tell. It's like usually most religious stories are describing something about the human condition.
But you have to go into that acknowledging that, like in the same way you read any book, most sort of fiction books to a certain extent of any sort of high regard will have some underlying morality or story or this, and they're trying to this and that. Like, you know, it's GCSE English, isn't it, really? But unless you go into that realising that, you just go, oh, that's a great book about a hungry caterpillar.
Yeah, but I mean the problem with a lot of modern literacy and movies and whatever is that there is no deeper meaning, and it is literally about whatever they say it's about. Like, we've come to a point now where I don't know, there's just something about our culture that makes us very literal. Very, very literal, where we can't see the forest for the trees, and that means that's reflected in all of our entertainment. A lot of our entertainment is ultimately meaningless, which there's nothing wrong with, but like, you know, it's ultimately shallow. It's ultimately about the colour and not the whatever that points to. And that's why we interpret religion in such a way as well. We think that's how they thought as well, but it isn't. They thought in a much more poetic, analogous way than we do.
Every society in history has wanted gratification and wanted happiness and wanted contentment to a certain extent, but we are at a stage now where there's so much, like we're flooded with so many options and so many different bright lights that you want that instant gratification, and if it doesn't give it to you immediately, then you move on. 200 years ago, you don't really have that option.
Yeah.
You have 3 books in your house. You don't have a TV, you don't have a laptop, you don't have electricity, you don't have any food. You can't go anywhere because it's raining.
Yeah,
you don't have a car.
Yeah.
So what do? You sit and you read the book and you read the book and you read the book again.
And you think.
Yeah. And what else can you do? But now, if there's nothing on television, there's the whole internet. If there's nothing on the internet, I can call somebody. There's so much constantly that if it doesn't grab me immediately, I'm not going to be interested in it.
Yeah, there's you have to go for thought, and B,
you have to stop and sort of take a step back before you go into anything.
Yeah. Now
and go, well, what do I want from this? Do I literally want an hour and a half of he fell over, he fell in the water, or do I want something thought provoking? for the most part, if your life is shit or tiring, you're just going to want something.
Yeah, I mean, it takes energy to think about things. It takes energy to interpret things and, to receive complex messages. So people have already spent their energy at work or whatever,
People don't like being forced to put energy into entertainment.
Yeah, exactly.
Anymore,
yeah.
which is weird.
I mean,
so people will immediately. Yeah, no, I'm not obviously speaking, but people just won't want to do it and will almost turn their nose up. At the concept of it.
Yeah.
It's like, what is it? Oh, subtitles. I'm gonna have to look at the screen the entire time.
Yeah. And people think people think that sort of thing is nothing but pretentious.
Yeah.
They think that the only reason you would ever read War and Peace, for example, which I've not fucking read,
it's fucking huge. It's about 800.
But people think the only reason that you would even do something
to say you've done it,
is to appear cultured, and they forget that there's a reason that that's thought of as cultured in the first place, because it's really good, probably.
That's the whole concept of reading now has changed massively, even in my lifetime.
Yeah.
You meet so many people that
like that,
claim they've just never read a book.
Yeah.
And that reading books is weird and strange to them. It's sort of an alien concept. Because you have so many other options at the sort of years, formative years of childhood. So it's much easier to just go, watch this television show, watch this, do that. And so now people don't read, but don't care about not reading.
To be fair, people probably read more than ever. It's just they're reading...
shit.
Well, just... Yeah. Really meaningless, shallow sort of...
Yeah, I mean, I do it as well, but...
I mean, we do it because that's what this show is predicated on.
Yeah.
So...
But we're saving the listener time so they can just go and read a book.
Yeah.
Just go and read the Bible. Just culture yourselves, man. Read the Bible.
That's the point of TLDR, is that you...
Get more people on the Bible.
Well, that's the secondary point, but the primary point is to,
save time.
Save time for people so they have more time to read the Bible.
Yeah. Get that scripture right in the old noggin.
Yeah. Or the Bhagavad Gita. Or... Oh, do you want the bottle opener?
Yeah, I was trying to do it casually, sort of. Off
you tried to mime it for me, but I don't have the mental capacity to keep talking and hand you a bottle opener. I could understand it, I just couldn't roll with it.
You don't get many mimes these days. Nobody's growing up wanting to be a mime.
Well, I do.
It's just not a career path anymore.
I'd love to be a mime.
There's no money in mime. You can only really bust.
It's gone, that industry.
Yeah.
The whole mime industry collapsed. What do you think that did to the economy? I imagine it did a number on it. Yeah, blew it right up.
Yeah.
Oh, you mimed it.
Did a little mime.
Yeah.
As a joke for the listener.
I'm sure they love that.
Yeah.
So that's religion sorted. Tick. We've solved that, haven't we?
I don't really know how we came onto that.
Something about Mormonism. Why did we get onto
religion's such a big topic and people love chatting about it aimlessly.
That's the only reason we did it, is to please the listener.
Yeah.
We didn't even want to talk about religion.
I don't like talking about it. I don't mind it. I think it's a conversation that's never really going to come to a nice conclusion.
And that could be said of philosophy in the broadest sense.
Yeah.
Really, but
it's just conversation.
Yeah.
Philosophy is literally just filling time until our death.
Boring. Why not just watch a movie?
Yeah, why don't you just put on TED?
As in TED Talks or the...
No, not TED Talks. The film with the bear.
Yeah. Good film, though.
Good film.
Genuinely funny film.
Yeah,
I
funny.
do like it.
Yeah, Flash was in it. That was great. Reminded me of my parents' childhood.
Yeah, not mine. Never came across him before that in my entire life, but So, that was a bit heavy. Do you want something a bit lighter?
Please.
How about... Are you a fan of Cracked.com?
No.
No?
Not really. People won't name names, but various people have just killed that website for me.
Yeah.
Just, oh, look at this hilarious Cracked art. Oh, fuck off.
Cracked was one of the first of this new wave of internet, what they're called, websites? Net sites, websites, which are predicated mainly on getting page views. I've used the word predicated twice in this podcast now, that's my limit.
Hello.
And one of the ways they do that is lists. I mean, they still had a bit of integrity because they were the first people to do it, really, so they couldn't just straight away BuzzFeed it and just say, 6 reasons that you should now hate this book, and then just post 6 GIFs.
I used to like crack quite. I used to go on it all the time, but now I never ever bother. Does it still exist? Do people still?
Oh yeah, massively. They posted an article the other day. The 6 most what the fuck old-timey porn trends. On crack.
Oh,
I was
brilliant!
about to say porn threads, porn trends.
Old-timey? How
porn
old-timey?
thread.
Like 90s.
Some are even before then.
1989.
A few of them are before 89.
88.
A few of them before 88 as well.
I can't
A few of them are
comprehend.
before the 80s.
No.
This one, for example, this is in at number 6. This is from just after the war.
First, second, Crimea. Which one?
Well, which do you think, Crimea?
Thought so.
Second World War.
Yeah. So I'm talking 40, 45.
45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, that sort of area.
Yeah.
In at number 6, erotic Nazi torture.
Hello.
Ooh!
Tell me more.
Well, what do you think when I've said that? What are you picturing?
SS uniform.
Yeah. On who, though? The man or the woman?
A woman.
Right.
Or man, really. Depends.
Go on.
And then a lot of whipping.
Yeah.
Maybe tied up.
Hello. You're onto something
A little
there.
bit bondagey.
Yeah, yeah. Well, these are all paintings, really. These magazine covers. I suppose in the 40s, photography hadn't really
Took off.
took off yet.
Didn't have those digital cameras. No SD cards, so they couldn't
Yeah.
plug it into their laptops.
I'm so full of shit because obviously photography was massive in the 40s. But
Yeah. And film.
yeah. But still, I think it's just one of those trendy sort of things.
They
Like,
didn't have Snapchat, so...
no Snapchat, no Instagram. Instagram works terribly on my iPhone 3G, by the way.
Yeah, Instagram on my iPhone 4 works perfectly. So.
Don't care. Anyway, so it's usually the men wearing the SS uniform torturing helpless women.
Torturing women?
In POW camps and stuff
See,
like
that's
that.
weird to me.
Yeah, I would have thought that it'd be...
I thought it would be the women punishing, like, the Nazi men.
That's exactly what I thought at first, yeah, but it's not. It's
As a
reversed.
sort of, woo, we won! Woo!
There's a picture here. Do you want to see this picture?
Yes, please.
A lady on a chair with a bucket on her head. Why not? And then a couple of Nazi arms there hitting her over the head with sticks. That chair's about to topple over. That's health and safety.
She could fall over at any moment.
She could. It looks like she's about to. So,
That's weird to me. What do you get from that?
an erection.
Well, obviously, but what doesn't give you an erection?
Loads of things. Pictures depicting poverty
Meh.
and illness. No, I'm not joking. Oh, hello. I think I just got a...
It's probably a fan tweeting in the show.
This is a Snapchat. This says, just listening to TFC now.
Brilliant.
Brilliant
Great.
ep.
Probably, they're probably talking about TLDR
Yeah.
Ep 1 because this one hasn't been released
not
to the
live.
public at all.
Yeah.
It's not going live.
I'll be honest.
Unless they're in the other room.
I'll be honest, that's not what this notification was. Snapchat also image-based. So
Yeah, although you can do a little text. Though,
we can now, but they're not very good.
They're shit. I don't
They
understand the point
disappear
of it.
after a while. What's the point of that?
Well, I saw an argument for this the other day. Is that's how the internet should be
No,
from now on?
obviously not.
I disagreed with it, but it's the whole privacy, keep it, all disappears. But you don't really want that because you want to look at things you've done or things other people have done.
Works
You
with
don't want to
images.
have an hour to go, oh, or oh no.
It works with images because images do... You don't... In the real world, you don't look at something and then look away. But... Well, I suppose that's true of words as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I suppose that argument doesn't really work. I just don't like it because it's different and new.
I don't like change.
In at number 5, what do you think it is? Any guesses?
In at number 5, big boots.
Cribs.
Cribs.
Yeah, as in like baby cribs. Cribs for babies. Here you go, here's a picture of a lady in a nightgown
In a crib.
in a crib. I don't know if she's noticed her wardrobe malfunction there, but you can see a bit of side boob.
Ooh,
That's
like
amazing.
it.
She's probably really embarrassed about
But
that.
is this women in cribs?
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
being women,
Being sexy women.
but not being like, not pretending that they need a crib.
Not pretending they need a crib.
Because
Just...
cribs are still existent in porn if you know where to go.
Oh yeah?
If
Go
you're
on.
looking at like baby porn, not baby porn, but like men pretending to be babies.
Yeah, I've seen that sort of thing. Age play, they call that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they might do.
Oh, I don't know. Do they?
Apparently so.
Who knows? Not me. I found the Age Play subreddit by clicking, random not safe for work on Reddit. Just clicking through and found that I don't think it's called Age Play. It's called something, and it's just it's not. It's mostly women posting pictures of themselves in diapers, nappies, whatever you want to call them,
shitting themselves,
saying like, "Oh, I want a daddy." There's no shit, Matt. No. There's
Do they not shit and piss in those?
I only looked at a few hundred images, but there was only one or two
shit and piss.
Shit and piss.
Oh, disappointing.
Yeah. In at number 4.
Yeah.
Any guesses?
Afros.
Yeah. No.
No.
Fencing.
Naked fencing?
No.
Just reg fencing.
These people here are wearing jumpers.
They are wearing jumpers.
They're also garter belts, admittedly. She's also sitting on a chair.
Yeah, that's not the best stance for fencing.
No, it's not even...
Because I can come at you from all angles, I can dance around.
Yeah, she's stood up, she's on the chair. They're also giving each other an eye. I thought in fencing you're supposed to wear that mask.
Yeah.
Eye contact has no place in fencing. That's disappointing.
I don't think that's real fencing. I think they've let themselves and the British Fencing Association down.
If you're going to let the BFA down, you're letting TFC down as well.
We are.
You might as well just leave.
Intertwined.
Well, we're one and the same.
Like brothers.
What do you think number 3 is?
Pigeon play.
Pigeon play.
Yeah. You literally fill a room with 1,500 pigeons.
Yeah, so there's barely any air in the room.
Yeah.
A lot of them will die. But that only adds to it.
And then you lie there.
Yeah.
And you let them shit on you and they fall down and die on you.
What's the word for...
And you just wank yourself off into your own mouth. Is that number 3?
Yeah. Pidge play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Subreddit.
What's the word for pigeon and seagull shit? Guano or something like that?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Guava.
No, guava's a fruit.
Guana.
Guano.
Ghana.
No, that's country.
Botswana.
Hey!
Come on! Carousel horses is number 3.
Carousel horses?
Carousel horses.
Nudie ladies on carousel horses?
Yeah, some of them still on the carousel itself, spinning round and round. And some of them have been removed from the carousel, brought into a studio. And, I mean, this woman here, she's limply sitting on it. She doesn't really seem bothered about
she's
it.
sort of sitting, what's it called? Side saddle.
The thing about all these is
really
that...
fully mounted?
She's not fully mounted, no. The thing about all these is that they're from old-timey times, let's say maybe 50s at a push. So there's no, like... If carousel horses became a thing now, then obviously what it would be is removing the pole that holds it onto the thing and just inserting it into your anus.
Into your anus. Anus insertion is a big one.
But now it's just standing next to one with a cardigan. Not now, I mean back then.
Back then, yeah.
Standing next to one wearing...
Porn was more fun back then.
It left more to the imagination.
In 5 minutes on the internet I can find anything, and that's almost dulled my senses.
Right. Do you want to give me something? Give me some obscure... I'll find pigeon porn. I'll see if I can find pigeon porn.
Yeah. Bet you can.
Porn.
Because there'll be people out there that want it, or there'll be people out there that think it's hilarious.
Right, do you know what? I'll go on X videos, my fave.
Everyone's fave.
I'll search pigeon. Oh, this is embarrassing. There's nothing there. Birds. There we go.
There you go.
A little parakeet.
Exactly.
Admittedly, that isn't porn. That's just a video of a bird.
Well, I mean,
it's
on a porn site, and they could fuck the bird at any moment.
I'll count that. I'm just going to close this tab. For obvious reasons. What do you think number 2 is?
Knitwear.
Knitwear.
Yeah.
Let me just check. No, it isn't, no.
Not knitwear.
It's not knitwear.
Fuck's sake.
Terrifying stuffed animals and dolls. I think there's
a bit taxidermy.
Bit of editorialising going on there. It's really just stuffed animals and dolls, but they are a bit
What,
weird
like teddy bears?
Teddy bears, Barbie dolls.
But what can you do with that? You can't do anything with it.
Well, here, they've been really creative with it. Ken, leaning against the anal area. Barbie's brunette friend, is just sitting on the buttocks. And Barbie herself resting on the upper thigh. Straddling the garter strap as well.
This is the thing about porn back in those days. It was all for the still image.
Yeah.
Like you can go on vintage on Pornhub, and you can see sort of old-timey, but it's just sort of sweaty 70s hairy porn.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fine. I've got nothing against that.
No, I'm all for it.
I like to go there every couple of hours just to see if there's
see what's going on.
any recent
Keep your finger on the
updates.
pulse.
Yeah. But here it's just about that titillating image.
Yeah.
And so you take whatever's popular at the time, be it carousel riding, Barbie dolls and stuff, and you just put them next to some cunt.
What do you mean by that?
You just rest it like a Ken going, ooh, for a snap it right next to the labia.
Yeah.
And that's enough for a centerfold.
I mean, there's no labia here. This is like she's wearing underwear. So.
Well, you know.
The labia is implied. The labia is in the mind.
In the mind. Labia doesn't even exist, Phil.
Yeah.
I've seen a woman undress once. Doesn't exist.
This is not there.
Just flat.
Really?
Yeah, smooth.
I'll talk to you after about that. I need to tell you something. Number 1, creepy cartoon mascots. Not really. This for me runs with the trend of cracked articles.
Being disappointing and shit.
Like the number 1 entry is always stupid and really doesn't fit and is the worst one. But obviously, they put the real number 1 as like number 6 or whatever to draw you in.
Draw you in.
What was number 6? Can't even remember what number 6 was.
Pigeon shit.
Guano, yeah. No, erotic Nazi torture. Obviously, that should be number 1. Clearly.
Yeah, yeah, it's true.
Anyway, what else have you got?
I wonder where porn's going to go in the future.
Oh, God.
Talking of porn, Quebec this week.
Hang on a minute. We weren't talking of porn. That's for the benefit of the people who listen to this as a solitary segment. I want to give the impression that we talk about things other than porn on this podcast.
Quebec this week passed a landmark end-of-life care bill.
Oh, I heard about that, yeah.
In which terminally ill patients now have the right to choose to die.
Mm-hmm.
Which is just interesting. Dying with dignity means dying with the least amount of suffering, said a member of the National Assembly.
For sure.
And I'm all for it. Assisted suicide, euthanasia. It's a big thumbs up from me.
I always think, when it comes to law, I always think that the whole point of law, the whole point of any police force, any force of law, the government, whatever, when it comes to setting laws, it should always be to protect people from people, never to protect people from themselves.
From themselves.
That's all.
That's the sort of libertarian argument, isn't it?
I suppose so, yeah.
That it's sort of that whole private property argument that I had. The rights you have are your rights, and they shouldn't be, impeached upon by the state or the government or any person representing the government.
Which I think is fair.
And I agree with that. I think life is a right to a certain extent.
Yeah.
And so you should have the right to call it a day.
Of course you should. I mean, if you feel like you should commit suicide for whatever reason, not even if you're terminally ill, then, if that's what you need to do, go for it.
Go and do it. Yeah, I would prefer, if you want to commit suicide, that there are places you can go and do it.
Yeah, yeah. I would prefer that it's not a taboo, because the fact that it's a taboo probably encourages so many more people to do it. I think there are a lot of people who have had suicidal thoughts, and the amount of people who have had suicidal thoughts is probably huge. It's probably not.
Yeah, I'm not saying that anybody that walks into the hospital and says I want to kill myself should be allowed to just go in there.
Here's an axe.
Yeah, we shouldn't just give them an injection and call it a day. Obviously, there should be something there, unless you're terminally ill, unless this is a horrible amount of pain that you're in. Mm. There should be, options for you. But if you've thought it all through, you've gone through it all, and you go, well, I want to call it a day, then absolutely.
I think that
choice is freedom.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the choice to end your own life, which really is the biggest choice of them all, then you're not truly free.
Yeah, definitely. I was about to say a minute ago that I think for a lot of people who want to end their own life, just knowing that that's okay with people will discourage them from wanting to do it. Like if someone wants to commit suicide and you say, all right, go on then they'll be like, oh, hang on a minute, I don't really feel like doing it anymore. Yeah. Like one of the maybe that's it's an oversimplification because I've never been in that position myself, but
it's a double-sided argument with that. You get posers, and if you say go and do it, then you show them as being posers. But the thing is, when you're mentally unstable, to say, well, this is it, I'll kill myself, then is provoking a reaction from other people. But even within yourself, you see that as the pinnacle. That's it. This is as dark as I can go, and I'm going to kill myself, and it's going to affect everybody else, and this is going to be a good decision for me. But if the taboos around it are broken down, then of course that'll still exist, and it won't just end. People won't just go, oh, whatever. But it'll make it more accessible, and it'll be easier to talk about it.
I think I'm not even talking about posers. I just think that for a lot of people who want to kill themselves, whether they know it or not, a lot of people are driven to that conclusion by feeling like they have nobody. And if you say to somebody, I want to kill myself, and they support that decision, then all of a sudden you have somebody. All of a sudden you have somebody who supports you.
You have a reason.
So you no longer want to kill yourself. So telling someone it's okay, you can kill yourself, might make a lot of people no longer want to kill themselves, because they feel like they're not a freak, they're not weird, they're not unusual.
Yeah.
Because reacting to I want to kill myself with like, okay, here's a helpline, here's something to get you out of this place. You'll be okay. Don't worry about it. You know, you're just a bit mental at the minute.
It's patronising.
Of course it is. It's like people. That's not what people need to hear. People need support in their decisions.
Well, it makes that decision peaceful. We live in a society now where if I decide to kill myself, you know, even if I'm terminally ill, I have to get somebody else to do that. If I can't move, I have to sort out this, that, and everything. The trauma of it is horrible.
Yeah. To
the point where a lot of people who are terminally ill attempt to take their own life with help from other people who don't know what they're doing, not trained professionals, or attempt to do it on their own.
Yeah. And
it often goes disastrously.
Yeah.
I was reading, when I was researching this, I was reading about somebody earlier whose mother was like terminally ill, tumours, cancer, the whole 9 yards. And she wanted to die. And so they didn't have any medication, so they stockpiled all her medication, like painkiller, etc., and they gave her like 10 times the amount. And instead of killing it, it just put her in a coma.
Yeah, yeah.
And so she lived like 2-3 months in a coma, occasionally just screaming in pain.
Yeah.
And that's horrendous. That's no way to go out. And even if you look at it from a purely business, economic standpoint, how many millions and millions and millions are we spending to keep people who don't want to be alive?
Yeah.
Medication, hospital beds, healthcare, carers, whatever it is. Yeah. And I know we have a free NHS, etc., but that money is still coming from tax. It's coming from this, it's coming from that. In America, you're going to have to pay for this care. And while you can argue that, yes, it's a sort of slippery slope argument, it's going to have to be regulated a lot. And it will push, especially in places like America, insurance companies to suggest suicide over costly medication. I still think
those are all hurdles that can be tackled, though. Like
and I don't think they're big enough hurdles to not talk about this.
No, definitely.
And obviously neither does Quebec.
Yeah.
I'm all for it.
I think a lot of this comes into the whole sanctity of life debate. And like
every life is sacred.
Well,
no, it's not.
I mean, that's how a lot of people feel. But like, when you examine that belief, and there's nothing wrong with that belief, and it seems like a noble belief in its face. But when you really examine it and really get deep down to it, what do you find? You don't find that it's completely noble and that it's like, well, every life is sacred, and that's just the way it is. You know, God gave his life, and we should be thankful for that. When you really get down to it, it comes down to fear of death.
Yeah, everyone wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, even if you don't believe in heaven, people still feel like life is sacred. And the only reason people feel like that is because they really don't want to die.
It's the whole argument, that sort of Kantian argument, that humanity has value in itself.
Yeah.
It's not a means to an end, it is an end in itself.
Yeah.
And so our value doesn't depend on anything else. And thus, it's so sacred, we shouldn't interfere with that to a certain extent. I don't agree with it, but that's the argument.
I mean, it's like what we were talking about earlier about realising that you're part of an ideology or a mythology or whatever, and trying to detach yourself from that. You have to realise that even your most dearly held beliefs that you're absolutely 100% sure of, that you think are completely unquestionable and scientifically proven and based on empiricism and whatever, even those beliefs might not be shared by somebody else, and you have to respect that. You have to respect that the person who wants to take their life might not share your beliefs about sanctity of life.
But exactly, this is choice. The argument is whether it should be legalised, not enforced. I think it should be legalised so you have that choice.
Yeah, definitely.
So you have the option. Of course, there's going to be, thousands of people who go, oh no, this is all God's plan, etc. Whether you're religious or not, you might not even want to die. The argument is, you have the choice to do it.
Yeah.
And right now we don't have the choice to do that. And it's weird. I find it a weird sort of dot on the old copybook within society, within democracy, within freedom, free will, etc. We don't have it.
It's almost like as our society changes, there are these things that become more and more incongruent with this new society that we're building, this new culture that we're building. And this is one of them. Sanctity of life and preventing people from committing suicide. It's becoming more and more obvious that that's people. I mean, it's becoming more and more the case that you look at that and think, "Oh, that's stupid." What it obviously is that it just doesn't fit with this new culture that we've got.
Yeah,
and that's someone's eventually going to have to answer for that. And as long as we keep going on the old culture train, which we always have for millions of years, whatever, then those things that don't fit are naturally going to be phased out, because that's what happens. That's, culture evolves naturally and things get phased out. Yeah. And this is one of the things that's going to get phased out.
I hope so. I do hope so.
Definitely is. There's going to be nobody in 50, 60 years time. So, I mean, there are going to be a few stragglers, but I think the majority of people will probably share the opinion that you should be allowed to commit suicide. That seems like if it's not already mainstream opinion, it's getting there.
I think, regardless of whether you want to do it, I think you should never force your beliefs of anything on anybody else.
Yeah.
You can share them and attempt to educate people if you think that's what you're doing. But as long as you're not forcing it down other people's throats, who cares? If you have that option, then it's up to you. Like, that's what I'm saying. Choice is freedom, essentially. And right now we don't have a choice. We have a choice to sit in pain and get through it, or attempt to do it illegally. Like, suicide is illegal.
Yeah. Not only is it illegal, it's also frowned upon, and really, it's taboo. Obviously, it's people really.
Within society, if you meet somebody that says, "Oh, I tried to kill myself," immediately go, that's you immediately think you're fucked up.
Yeah, but it shouldn't.
Something's gone wrong there.
Yeah.
Really, you should think, well, it's a shame that you got to that point in your life.
I mean, I think a lot of people don't want to admit that it's when you start to think about the universe and your place in it and all of that. One of the thoughts that is a logical conclusion for a lot of people is that there's no reason I shouldn't.
Complete waste of my time.
I wish I could remember who. Hang on a second. Let me just do a quick Google.
But it's that whole argument when you think on that bigger picture, and it is scary to do it. Your life, regardless really of what you do, if you think of the most important men in history, still in the scope of the entire universe, their life is very, very meaningless. And so, what are we? Nothing. We are nothing. And so why should we live a life in pain? It's the argument as well for making the most out of your life, etc., etc. Because you mean nothing, so why go out feeling shit? Why spend a single second having depressed thoughts? It's counterintuitive to live like that. It won't happen.
No.
To think like that. But
these are thoughts that a lot of people have, and we should be more willing to admit that it's normal to have these thoughts.
Yeah.
I found what I was looking for. Albert Camus, who was a philosopher, he said there's really only one serious philosophical question, which is whether or not to commit suicide. And that's almost a vindication of anyone who's ever attempted suicide or thought about suicide. Because it's saying that when you have philosophical thoughts, if you're the sort of person who tends to think about the absurd, then you might come to the conclusion that life itself is absurd, and then you might want to end life.
Well, I've not thought about committing suicide. I've never been suicidal. But I've sat there and looked at the whole scope of things, both from this sort of science, religion, philosophy, all those fronts, and gone, well, this is my existence here doesn't make any difference. There's I'm not going to stand out anywhere. And you have to fight yourself out of it, because you do get lost in that kind of, well, this is all completely pointless. And the systems you live in, and that's why I don't really buy into the whole, oh, let's revolt against this and that and this, because it doesn't, none of it's important.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah.
But then if you think like that, nothing's important and nothing will ever change, and you know, it's a double-edged sword. But and you think, well, what is this? If I'm not here tomorrow, all that changes is a few people go, oh, that's a shame.
Yeah.
You know, some people are quite sad. You know, family members will be like, oh, that's a shame. Sad. They get over it eventually.
Yeah.
The world doesn't stop. Nothing changes. Your existence is very, 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 very minute. And if you're already not mentally unstable, but if you're already depressed or if you're already going through X amount of issues, of course it's natural to think, fuck it, I don't need this.
It's an easy thought.
I
Not
don't
easy
need
as in
this.
Like, it's a logical thought that a lot of people will come to. I don't particularly agree with the idea that we're insignificant and all of that, because you know, when you say, oh, my life is very insignificant and has no impact, one of the counter thoughts to that is that, oh, well, it's significant to me, but then that's immediately shut down by most people. But it shouldn't be shut down, because really, if we do live in a relative universe, and if the universe is relative to the observer and all of that, then you know, you are the most significant point of the universe. You are the centre of the universe.
In my world, undoubtedly, I'm top dog, and it'll always be me over anybody else. And that's a problem I genuinely do have, is that I don't have a lot of compassion. And if it's me or somebody else, then it's always going to be me.
Yeah.
Because it's not that I don't care about you, but I care about myself more.
Yeah.
And whether it's arrogance or ego or whatever, I'll stand on your head to get where I'm going to go.
I don't think. I mean,
and that's bad. That is a bad thing. But take that down a couple of notches. You are the most important person in your world, because you are all you can fully 100% empathise with. Yeah. Because your life is all you know to a certain extent. You're taught and you see other life and poverty.
You see it all through your life.
You see it through your life and where you are currently at that point. And that changes depending on where you are. So you never have an objective view of it.
Yeah. Everything, I think Niels Bohr, or one of those early physicists, one of those early quantum physicists, said something to the effect of, everything that you ever see in the universe, you always see through the human brain, human eyes and stuff like that. And it sounds like a mundane sort of thing to say, but it's really quite a profound thing to think about. Like, you might feel like you're a mote of dust suspended on a sunbeam, like Carl Sagan says, like you're just this thing right on the edge, whatever. But even thinking about that, you're thinking about that using your brain, using this organ that's right at the centre of the universe, the observable universe, you know. And people love to say nowadays, it's part of our whole mythology nowadays, that nothing is really significant, humans aren't significant, humans are insignificant, humans don't matter, I don't matter, nothing matters. But really,
humans are all that matter.
Yeah, because significance is a human concept, and you can't say that the universe is meaningless, because you know deep down that it is meaningful. And that's, a lot of people will say, oh, that's stupid, it's not really meaningful, that's just your bias. But then, for example, the only reason that the world is colourful, which it is, no one would argue with the fact that the world is colourful.
You see it through
organs of colour. The only reason that the world is meaningful is because you perceive it through an organ of meaning. Yeah. So it is meaningful, it is colourful, it is audible.
Well, everything you do is meaningful. It's the level or the importance you put to that meaning. Yeah. And you can get lost in thinking, well, in the whole scope of the universe, in the whole scope of even, you know, the Earth going around the Sun, the Moon going around the Earth, what I choose to buy from the shop is completely meaningless. Yeah. But that's not a natural thought, really, because you don't think, and you shouldn't think in those terms, I don't think.
Well, I mean, when you do think in those terms, think about what you're actually doing. You're imagining, if you imagine in your head this image of a big swirling galaxy, and you imagine, oh, I'm right there in the dot over there. Yeah. You're not actually viscerally identifying with that small dot on the edge. You're identifying with the whole galaxy. So you're feeling as though you're this big galaxy with a tiny little nothingy bit right in the end. So no matter what you do, you can't help but identify with the main thing. Whatever the main thing might be in the picture at the moment, that's what you identify with.
Yeah, that's true. That's 100% true.
Thank you. Cheers.
Behind that philosophy,
Thanks.
mate.
Cheers.
That's good, that, isn't it? That's clever.
I thought so.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that's why... And that's what pulls you out of that bogged down...
Yeah.
Everything I do is meaningless.
Then if it doesn't pull you out of it, then fair enough. You know.
Yeah, whatever.
You can... People should at least feel vindicated in their depressing thoughts. Because
I don't think depression is a bad thing.
I don't think so either. And
that's a sort of taboo to say.
Yeah.
If you say that to people, especially people who have been depressed, you get a very weird look.
Yeah.
And I don't think depression is a bad thing at all, because it changes your outlook on how you think and how you work and everything, and meaning and what you put meaning in.
It can improve you.
And I think it does improve you.
Yeah.
If you live life jollily...
Not always. Some
no,
people...
No, of course not. But the same way, a lot of things don't improve a lot of people.
Yeah.
Depression is often probably the deepest low you'll get, like manic depression.
Yeah.
But you have to... It's very sort of childish, but the lows and the highs are what life is.
Yeah,
if life is all high or all low, or then it isn't all high or all low.
No.
It is what it is. And it changes your outlook. The highs change your outlook and the lows change your outlook. And you have to go through both. And people are more than happy to pat you on the back when you're having a brilliant time of it and everything's going great for you. But they're almost... not patronising, but they want to immediately pull you out of that depression. They want to say... well, whatever you're doing now is wrong, and you should be at least at normal levels. But what they're saying is, we're uncomfortable with you thinking differently to how we think. We're uncomfortable with you being unhappy with your current situations, be it mentally, physically, within life, your environment. They're saying we're uncomfortable with that, and we want you to not do that.
Yeah, it's like when you hear somebody vomiting, you don't want them to do it. Even though you know deep down that when you're sick, it feels great. It doesn't feel bad. It feels good because you're getting rid of this horrible...
And that's what the body is doing.
It's because you're hearing other people doing it. Depression, while depression admittedly does feel bad, it's the worst... Sorry about that. The worst thing about depression is other people being depressed makes you uncomfortable. And really, if you can look at depression as a low that you can get out of, then you can understand that the high that comes after it will be huge. And
that's the thing. I don't consider myself depressed. You have days.
Yeah.
But I would say of a week, probably 2 of those days, I wake up and everything I do is riddled in apathy.
Yeah.
And I go, but if those 2 days didn't exist in my week, the other 5 days wouldn't feel as good.
No.
And
so if there's no lows, there are no highs.
And so when I say that to people, and they go, that's terrible, you should live every day great. Well, yeah, that is an ideology, that every day you wake up and you feel on top of the world and everything's great. And I have, not my own issues, but, I probably shouldn't be apathetic and a bit, 2 days a week, but I am, and I don't see anything wrong with that.
No, I mean...
I think that's fine.
Not only is there nothing wrong with it, but
it improves me as a person for the other 80% of the time.
It's also completely unavoidable and natural, because there is no such thing as light without dark. There's no such thing as north without south.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as up without down. Like if you got a piece of paper and you said, right, I'm going to remove the top half of this paper, you rip the top half off. You've just created another top half.
Yeah.
You now have a piece of paper with 2 other halves. You remove the top half again, you've created another top half. The only reason that you feel however you feel now is because you don't feel however you don't feel. And then, that sounds like a really stupid thing to say, but it's true. If you feel great at the minute, the only reason you feel great is because you know you don't feel bad. If you feel bad, the only reason you feel bad is because you know you don't feel great.
And that's the thing with people who are depressed or people who are feeling terrible, is that their top half is not going to be your top half.
Yeah, no, it's way down.
And so their delighted happiness is going to be your sort of, not mundane, but your sort of crap day.
Yeah.
And so when they're just a bit mopey, and you're going, oh, well, you're not feeling as great as me because I've just booked a holiday. Well, of course they're not.
Yeah.
And it's, It is admittedly very difficult to think like that, because like we were saying, you can only really see other people through yourself.
Yeah.
But you have to sort of click that in your brain so that when you're talking to someone who is depressed or they're upset or they're whatever they are, their high is not currently going to be your high.
No, yeah.
It can be your high, but currently...
One day, maybe.
Yeah.
But...
Even tomorrow their high can be your high, but right now their high is just going, oh yeah, I feel a bit bad, I'm going to go to bed.
That high might even be gathering the strength to get out of bed at 1 p.m. You know, that might be the highlight of their entire week, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
And like I say, meaning is what you put meaning to.
Yeah.
And so if you're in that dark place where meaning is getting up and having a shower, then that is the same as me, you know, fucking climbing a mountain, whatever. It is
just
the
as
same.
worthy of congratulations.
Absolutely.
As well.
But it is admittedly difficult to think like that. But
it's very difficult to think like that because that's just how our culture is. And if we did think like that, then businesses would fail, you know. But at the end of the day, it's very damaging to people who are depressed to be a part of this culture that treats depression the way we do, because we tell depressed people to stop being depressed and to pull yourself out of it and to seek help and whatever. You might not be in a place where you want to seek help yet. You might need to wallow for a while, and that's fine. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. You might need to experience this low and really feel it, really actually feel what it is to feel. I mean, if you're clinically depressed at the moment, there are, believe it or not, probably people out there who envy you, people who've never been depressed and wonder what it feels like to really, truly feel empty and sorrowful and horrible. And you might say, oh no, you don't want this, it feels horrible. And there's nothing good about it, and it does feel horrible, but that's not why that's not why some people want to experience it. They want to experience it because it will make their highs higher. It will give their life meaning. Like, the only reason that a sentence has meaning is because it's punctuated and it has spaces. The low points make life poignant, and the fact that that's another reason that we shouldn't fetishize prolonging life so much. People should be able to commit suicide. People should be able to die with dignity, because everyone does die, and that's what makes life poignant, is the fact that it comes to an end one day. And if you want that end, if you feel like that end should be tomorrow, then that's when it should be, because you're the arbiter there. You're the decider of that. You know, something is no less beautiful just because it's longer or shorter. You know,
and I think that's the problem we have with sort of mental health as a whole within this sort of Western culture, is that it's all under one banner, and it's all, well, this is X, this is Y, and this is where you want to be. Yeah. But really, it's subjective, massively subjective, and every person is different. And while the condition you have and how you feel can be empathised with by many, many different people, your levels are always going to be different.
Yeah.
Deep.
Really deep.
Yeah.
Have we done suicide? Have we sorted that?
Yeah, do it if you want. Don't do it if you don't want.
Yeah, there you go. Shouldn't be that difficult. Thanks, Quebec.
Obviously, there are issues with it. It's not going to be as simple as that. Assisted suicide, euthanasia. No, regulations are going to need to be put into place to make sure that that system isn't abused. But regulations are in place so that many, many systems aren't abused right now. Yeah. So why is suicide not one of them?
Yeah, it will be. I'd be very surprised if it doesn't happen in like a few weeks, that like the courts of Britain say, right, I've listened to TLDR. You're all aware of that, aren't you? They're, yes, of course.
Have you listened to Epi 2? Yes!
Obviously, next! And they'll say, well, they seem to have solved not only religion but also suicide. I'm just going to base the law on what they said. I'll be so surprised if that doesn't happen. Of course that's going to happen.
I imagine we'll be getting tweets within a matter of minutes after we've put out this episode.
Yeah.
Saying thanks from Mr. D. Cameron, PM.
It's at TFC Podcast, by the way. Yeah. If you're not tweeting us now,
what are you doing
with your life?
Stop being depressed. Get up out of bed. Send us a tweet.
Get up. Go to work. Get a job.
We'll at least favourite it, because it means nothing.
If you favourite it, I'll log in,
unfavourite, and send back abuse.
Yeah.
You may have seen that this account favourited it earlier, but I'd like to point out...
That was a mistake.
That was an error. And the network as a whole hate everything that tweet was, and we want you to go kill yourself.
Do you want to talk about sexbot slaves?
Yeah, of course I do.
Yeah. Thanks to new technology, sex toys are becoming tools for connection. But will sexbots reverse that trend?
Nope.
Don't want to throw you off by talking about sexbots. But I'm on aeon.co, aeon.co. And I've just learned of the invention of a new sexbot called Roxxxy, spelled with 3 X's. She's 5'7" and slender.
Good height, 5'7". You're not 5'7".
No, I'm 5'11". I'm not. I'm 5.7, which is fine. She's got a wide range of hair and eye colours, and depending on the model you choose, she can hear you, talk to you, and feel you.
Do we have a picture?
Here's a picture for you. There she is sitting with a guy who I can only assume is probably called Darren.
Bit weird face.
Yeah, that's because my mouse cursor. Now she looks good though, doesn't she?
She looks better than some girls I've been with. Sorry.
She looks like she's...
No, not true.
She looks like she's just seen something really sort of surprising on the news. Like, oh, they saved those rabbits then. But actually, she's not going, oh! She's actually just preparing for a dick in the
for
old mouth.
blowjobs, yeah.
Obviously, she has 3, quote, inputs. Obviously...
Mouth. Cunt. Arsehole.
Vagina, anus, and mouth.
Yeah. If you want to go all biology
Latin.
on me, then whatever.
Comes in several different models. You can go with any of the varieties of Roxxxy. Roxxxy Gold comes equipped with a personality. That's the only one that has a personality.
Don't want one of them, thanks.
Roxxxy Silver doesn't have a personality, but she will talk during sex.
No, pass.
Roxxxy Pillow doesn't have arms and legs, but she's still an all-round good companion. She still has the 3 inputs, and that's really all you need in a woman. Rocky is the male version.
Pass.
Pass.
Okay.
Not going to go for Rocky.
No.
Why not experiment?
Well, I mean, I'll give anything a go once.
Well,
so if it's free,
let me just check. No, I'm not sure how much it costs. Actually, I would have thought like tens of thousands of dollars. I guess. The interesting thing about Roxxxy is that Roxxxy, as long as you buy the gold model, has a personality, has likes and interests. It says here that she likes the same things as her owner, which I think is not the relationship you want.
I don't want that.
I've always thought that people often consider the foundations of a good relationship to be, oh, we both love friends.
No.
But
I would hate to be with somebody that likes all the same things as me.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And has the same opinions on me as well.
Yeah.
Because I'll go, oh, shall we watch some UFC? Yes. What? Oh, that was great. You see him punch him in the face? Yes.
Yeah,
Wasn't it great? Yeah. End of conversation. I want arguments and debate and
violence.
I want to feel miserable sometimes because I have to watch Hollyoaks.
Yeah.
And you
exactly,
want,
you
want ups and
spice.
downs. You don't just want, it's tedious.
Well, speaking of tedium, Roxy can sometimes get sleepy. So,
Great.
we don't need to even comment on that.
So we're now saying
Speechless.
that occasionally this sex doll will go, oh no, I want to go to bed.
Not right, but I paid $40,000.
But you're not real?
Oh, I want to go to bed. Did you see the cricket last night? Yes, I did. I've told you that I like cricket. So I don't know why you're asking.
Is it self-cleaning?
I don't think
Because
so,
this
no.
is one of my issues with sex dolls.
Yeah.
As futuristic as they get, they can wander around and basically be a woman.
Yeah.
But if they don't then clean...
Basically be a woman. But, I mean, they can't vote or write or think.
Yeah, I mean...
Let's just make that clear that we don't think that women are 3 inputs.
No. There's a lot more to them than that. At least another 2 or 3
Or a few
inputs.
more inputs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hand, surely.
Foot.
Yeah.
2 feet. 1
both
foot's not
feet.
going to work.
No. Armpit.
Armpit.
Yeah. Boobs. In between
Yes,
the boobs.
boobs.
If you can pull it off. If not, it's fine.
It's
Don't
fine,
worry
yeah.
about it.
I'll find somebody else that can.
Oh dear. Roxy can be programmed with a few different pre-packaged personalities, such as mature Martha. She knows what she wants, Matt.
Yeah.
She's been places. She's been around the block.
I don't want that from a sex doll. I don't want them telling me what they want.
That's fine. That's fine. What about young Yoko?
Yes.
She's just turned 18. And,
So creepy.
she wants to learn. Creepy? How about Frigid Farrah? Frigid Farrah requires a little bit of coaxing.
Oh,
yeah, if you want to rape your sex doll.
I don't want that.
Why not? Neither does she. That's the tagline. You don't want it, and neither does she.
It's weird that it's going to this angle. Like, I think sex dolls are great.
yeah.
Because they stop people from just going out and raping.
Yeah.
From what I know about sex dolls,
which is a lot,
is that if you get...
I mean, there's one that's staring at me over there in Studio B. It looks very used. I can only
talking
see
about
you.
Judith, don't...
yeah. Jude's.
Juicy Judith.
Juicy Judas.
She just comes a lot.
Does she? What is that? Is that like grape juice? What do you have to...
I just
saline?
I fill it with water and it just goes everywhere.
Yeah.
I used to fill it with my actual semen, but
well.
then I realised I just had to clean it up afterwards.
Yeah. It congeals after a while, that's the problem.
But obviously sex dolls, great. Most people who have them either have them for a joke or have them because they
have no friends to joke with.
They have no friends, lack of confidence, low self-esteem, and they want to get their end away in a vague woman type thing. And that's fine.
They've broken off from humanity at some point.
And that's fine. And sex dolls, if they advance and become, oh, tell me, do this, oh, I love it. Great. But this whole kind of it's very creepy. You're basically appealing to paedophiles and rapists.
Yeah. And
just turned 18, it's her birthday.
Yeah.
She comes with a stick-on badge. Like what?
She comes with a card. When you open it, it's got a copyright-free version of Happy Birthday to you. Happy birthday. The other one costs a lot of money.
It's your birthday.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Andrew. Andrew.
Please record your name right here.
Happy birthday,
J. Kyber, MD. Happy birthday, J. Kyber, MD. It's just miserable. Sad.
She will talk to you about your specific interests.
How?
If you're into golf, she's into golf. I imagine it's...
If I tell her I'm into golf, is she then just going to go on her little brain chip computer and
imagine it's Wi-Fi. I imagine she does a quick Google.
Wow, the US Open is starting in 3 days.
Exactly.
Bubba Watson is the bookie's favourite.
Exactly.
So what do you think about this?
Yeah.
Oh.
Even that seems a bit complex. Like,
I don't want that of my
Wolfram Alpha
friends.
isn't quite there yet. Imagine Siri. Siri is like based on Wolfram Alpha, based on one of the most advanced artificial intelligences. I don't know what you would call it. So this can't quite be at the level of Siri. Even Siri's not that good.
Did you want to search for bagel recipes? No.
No, I said anal recipes.
I said anal recipes. Recipes for anal disaster. Just says Indian food. I don't.
Yeah, that's not. I mean,
it's racist,
I'll write that down. But
put it in my notebook, but I think it's wrong.
yeah, book me for an appointment later on for your mouth.
But I would definitely give them a whirl.
Would you though? It seems like a hassle. I don't think I would.
Yeah, I wouldn't go for the one that needs
You go for
coaxing.
Roxxxy Pillow.
Yeah.
Programmed at mature Martha setting.
Because I don't... That's basically just to spice up my masturbating. I
That's
can have
exactly
sex
what it
with
is,
regular women.
Can you?
So I don't...
Give me some tips later on.
Just pretend you're interested in everything they're saying.
Alright.
No, that's
something.
That's a joke.
Something you don't have to do with Roxxxy because
She's
already is
interested in what
interested
you're
in.
interested in. So really, it's not helping you become a better person.
Oh no!
It's not coaxing you out of your social anxiety. It's just beating you into a corner. What's this? You want to talk about the ending of Mass Effect 3? Great.
Really, what Roxxxy is very unhealthy.
It's yourself.
Yeah,
You're having
it's
sex with yourself.
It's masturbation. Yeah, that's what it is. If I was high right now, that would be really profound to me. I'd be like, whoa, the dots are connected. But as it is, I'm just going to point out that teledildonics is a word.
Wow.
And then maybe after we talk about teledildonics, we could just move on. Because I think knowing that teledildonics is a field that exists
is good enough for me.
It's good enough for me, yeah. I think we can move past sex bots.
Right off, right there.
Do you have anything else to talk about?
Yeah.
Come on.
Indian Miracle Buster.
Oh, yeah?
This is a guy who has basically run off to Finland. He's gone to live in Finland.
Mm-hmm.
because he made his name in India exposing the miraculous feats of holy men.
Right.
And there's a law in India against blasphemy. And so they said, if you do that again, we're going to kill you, or imprison you, or fine you, or rape you, or do whatever they do.
Fine or kill. Fine, kill, or rape.
But it's the weird... I think what caught my eye from this is that India is one of the most booming economies in the world. There's over 1 billion people there now. And yet it is the... Home is not the right word, but it's the most prominent site of the gulf between rich and poor.
Massively so.
And it's also one of the most religious nations in the world.
Yeah.
Secular thinking, atheism, etc. is... Well, of course it exists there. It's much, much lower than even America.
Yeah.
And it's interesting how that, despite the booming economy, despite all the money and the technology and this and that coming in, it still is very, very caught in its ways.
Yeah.
But this guy's great.
So what's happening? A guy busting miracles?
Yeah, he basically made his name... I think he's educated to a certain extent and said, well, this isn't true. He made his name a Hindu fakir, who I imagine is like a holy man.
Yeah.
He declared on live television that he could kill anybody with tantric chanting.
Same.
So he went, yeah, I'll take you up on that. And he did on television. He didn't kill him.
Oh, what?
But the channel cancelled all subsequent programming.
What?
And the Takir started chanting on the spot. And hours and hours and hours and hours passed by. And there was a bit of desperation that crept into his raspy mantras, according to this article. But nothing, of course, happened.
How long did it last before he said?
Several hours. It doesn't go into it, but he just says several hours.
I wonder what that was like right at the end. I wonder if he thought, oh, do you know what? I've been saying Barry Krishna this whole time. I've been getting this wrong.
We need to start again.
Yeah,
Can we start again?
I've got to go home. I've got a wife, but it would have worked if I got that right. Oh, this is embarrassing.
But he's also he's visited hundreds of villages, replicating famous feats, which is basically just simple magic, like creating holy ash out of nothing. It's just a simple hand-eye trick. And yeah, his last campaign in India, he went to a Catholic sort of holy site. It was in a toilet.
Oh yeah.
And there was a statue of Christ.
Yeah. Statuette or statue?
A statuette.
Yeah.
And it was dripping water from the foot, and people were like...
In a toilet surrounded by plumbing?
Yeah, well, yeah, I'll come on to that. And so residents flocked to it.
Yeah. Oh, the drippy foot of
just
Christ,
to watch,
of course.
Just to watch the drip.
Matthew 3:15, and thus Christ's foot did drippeth.
And some drank the droplets.
Yeah, well,
which is basically piss and shit heavy.
Yeah.
Because it's in a public toilet in India. And everyone that's ever been to India has gone, oh, I got the shits. Yeah. I don't think it's racist to say this. Most people who go to India get the shits. I imagine most people
live in India.
Yeah. It's just bad.
Yeah.
And so he went and said, plumbing is what's happening here.
Yeah. He probably just poked his head in and went, plumbing. So,
it turned out the statue was mounted on an overflowing drain, which in turn fed a pipe that issued from a nearby toilet. So the statue was on a drain, coming from a toilet, and people drank those droplets. He just said it was bad plumbing.
Obviously.
But it didn't go well for him.
Why?
He got beaten with sticks, and he said, so many death threats that he ran off. And of all the places he ran off to, he went straight from India to Finland. He didn't.
That's quite a good shout. I would definitely go to Scandinavia.
He didn't go to Pakistan. He didn't go. Yeah, but it's a hell of a journey.
It's a bit of a trek, but it depends what flight you book.
Yeah, you could probably get it cheap if you have a stopover in Pakistan. If
60.
You go and then fly again.
Yeah. I think that's a good place to go to. But he's wanted, is he?
Yeah. If he goes back, there's warrants out for his arrest on India's blasphemy law, which states whoever with deliberate and malicious intention of outraging the religious feelings of any class of any citizens in India shall be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend up to 3.5 years, or with fine, or with both. But yeah, It's a bit mental, really, that exists.
What, the blasphemy law?
Yeah, anywhere.
I suppose so. It's you can see where they're coming from. It's part of the whole let's keep the peace thing. But what they don't realise is that impedes on critical thought.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, there's a difference.
I suppose malicious intent, you know, that's in there, so that's good enough. But
there's a difference between keeping the peace from people who are maliciously, like they say, maliciously trying to actively stir up violence, and people just going, well, what about this? Or what about that? You know, this is basically just Indian Mythbusters.
Yeah.
He's going, oh, well, that's this. What he's doing is just educating people. He's not saying your religion is bullshit. He's not going, ha 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 ha, you stupid Catholics. Look how wrong this is, and smashing their Jesus figurine on the floor, pissing on it.
Yeah, it's already got piss on it.
Yeah, dripping from the foot.
Yeah.
He's just going, well, this is just plumbing.
Yeah.
So this isn't something worth coming to see.
Depends how tactful he is about it. Is he really tactful, or is he not very tactful?
Well, I imagine he is. I can't imagine he's the Gordon Ramsay of miracle busting.
Yeah.
You fucking cunts. Because it's just, you wouldn't naturally do that.
No.
If I was going to bust something, if I'm going into a room full of 100 Catholics, the last thing I'm going to do is demean their religion.
But a lot of people would. A
lot
of people.
This isn't on television. This isn't...
No.
He has no protection here.
How old is this guy, though? Because if he's like...
50, I would assume.
Oh, is he? I was going to say if he's like a 22-year-old guy who spends all his days on Reddit, then it's very likely that he could be one of those... Oh, religion's bullshit. Everyone who believes in religion is so stupid. Religion is false.
But there's a difference between saying that on the internet or saying that as Richard Dawkins on Richard Dawkins' website, protected by all his followers, and going into a room in a village in India where corruption and everything is so rife and saying, this is stupid, you're all idiots, look how great I am, because you're going to get beaten up.
Yeah, but he did get beaten up.
Well, he got attacked with sticks, but that wasn't because of him. That's just him
more just
saying,
a general, don't blaspheme sort of thing. Well, how do you feel about blasphemy? Big fan?
I probably blaspheme quite a lot.
Do you, though?
Because what classes as blasphemy?
Well, that's what I thought. Like, is it going against your own faith? Or is it going against the faith of your immediate culture? Or is it going against any faith? Because if it's going against any faith, then almost everything you ever do is blasphemy, because there's someone out there who believes that you should never butter toast, you know?
I think it would be within your society.
Yeah, like your immediate culture.
Yeah, and while we live in a sort of Christian society.
Sort of. That's changing very
Yeah,
rapidly.
no, it is, but as a nation, we're still a Christian nation.
Yeah. When the Queen kicks it, though. Ooh.
Charlie, he's an ardent atheist, isn't he?
Charlie,
he'll
hates,
come in and go,
it.
fucking knock all them churches down.
Oh, have you heard of Dawkins? I've got a few books you should read, mate. God, that's a delusion. Cheers.
Do you remember when we got given those red little Bibles?
Yeah,
in year 6 or something at school, or year 7?
How old would we have been then? Like 10, 11?
Yeah. I don't know what the point of that was.
I don't remember. Weren't they Psalms or something, or was it an actual
Bible?
Bible?
It was weird. I had it around for ages. I found it a couple of months ago. But
I remember when we got given those Bibles, because we went to a Church of England school, and almost every kid there was raised not religious, but the few who were mostly Muslim.
Yeah.
And then there was maybe there was one Christian. I don't know.
Yeah,
but either way,
probably be a couple.
Yeah, but either way, it was a Christian school ostensibly. So we were given these Bibles one day for some fucking reason, and I remember we just used them as weapons. Like I remember they would go flying across the playground, like people would just throw them at each other. That's all I really remember.
Isn't that blasphemy? At the end of the day,
no, because as JC, Jesus Christ, my homeboy, said, let he who is without sin cast the first stone. So really, by throwing loads of Bibles, you're saying, yeah, I'm without sin.
No sins.
Yeah, no sins here.
This guy, no
proper
sins.
Christian. So that is the least blasphemous thing you could do.
That's one of the differences between like Christianity and the majority of other religions is that scripture or copies of scripture aren't revered. not revered, but they're not dealt with in a special way. Like, you have to be washed. You don't have to be washed in a certain manner. You don't have to wrap them in this and keep them higher. And because, like, the Quran is the biggest sort of thing that people... The way to get a Muslim to tear it up or throw it on the ground, or... Whereas really it is just a book with a copy of something in. Whereas Christianity doesn't have that, I don't think.
Do you mean Christianity doesn't have the reverence?
Yeah. For the paper it's printed on.
It does more so than a lot of religions, but also less than a lot of religions. It's in a middle ground. I wouldn't say that Christianity is one of the... Like, if you burn a Bible, people aren't going to be happy with you.
Well, yeah, but I don't think people are going to be overly happy from any major religion if you burn a copy of their...
Yeah, I was just talking earlier on in this podcast about in Zen, where they ritualistically burn their own texts.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's use that as one
average. End of the spectrum.
No, let's use that as the standard.
Right, okay.
So in that case...
By that case, then, yeah.
Christianity is really ardent. Yeah. Very fundamental.
I know, blasphemy is a strange law.
So you're not a fan of that law at all?
I'm not.
I don't know that I am either, but I don't feel all that strongly about it, to be completely honest with you.
Okay, cheers, Phil.
That might be because, again, it's 2:30 in the morning and we're recording this.
Yeah, we've done this again. You got here really early.
Yeah. We mostly sat around.
We said, yeah, we'll get it.
Well, we had to break that news story.
Yeah, we did have to break that horrible
that David Williams thing. I wonder what's happened with that. Let me just check. Because I googled it, no one had talked about it, so I thought, well, I'm a journalist. It's my duty, really, to break this story.
And you did. And I respect you for doing that.
That has had 237 views so far.
Ooh.
So times that by a million, what is that? 237 million views it's had.
Yeah, that's nearly the population of America.
Yeah, really good. I'm glad I broke that story as a journalist. How do you feel about binding books with unusual things?
Like foreskin?
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't buy a book.
How about not foreskin then, just normal skin?
Yeah, cool.
Because...
human or animal?
Human.
Interesting.
Because Arsène Houssaye, who is this old dead French writer, he wasn't dead when he was a writer, he was alive, but then he died afterwards.
After he'd done all of the writing.
He gifted one of his books to his friend, Dr. Ludovic Bouland, who then bound the book in the skin of an unclaimed body of a female mental patient who had died of a stroke. How do you feel about that? Here's a picture of the book. It looks a bit yellowish. It looks like it's been bound with some sort of yellow leather. But recently in Harvard, they've done all sorts of tests on it and found that the stories are true. It has actually been bound with human skin.
Why? What did he gain from that?
Because the book was... it was a meditation on the soul and life after death, apparently. That's how Houssaye himself described it. And so Dr. Ludovic Bouland, he thought that the book should be bound in skin because a book about the human soul deserves to have a human covering. That's what he thought.
Meh. I think as long as nobody minds, like that was an unclaimed body, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, obviously nobody gave a shit about that person.
Yeah.
And she was mental.
And I think this is in the 1880s. So.
Yeah. I don't see anything wrong with that. I mean, it's a bit weird now, but we're judging it by today's sort of standards of normality.
Well, apparently this has occurred since at least the 16th century. It's called anthropodermic bibliopagy. Bibliopagy?
Probably none of those.
Yeah, it's probably a different pronunciation.
You probably messed that up.
Hilarious. Yeah, I'll probably ruin that. And this is something that apparently has happened quite regularly in the past. Not necessarily quite regularly, but, you know, occasionally at least. It says here the confessions of criminals were occasionally bound in the skin of the convicted, for example.
That's interesting.
Poetic, isn't it? Poetic justice. An individual, for example, in the past might have requested to be memorialised for family or lovers in the form of a book, which is quite an attractive idea.
Yeah, I quite like that. I think when I die,
Yeah.
I could go for that.
This is what I thought when I read it, but then I thought maybe I shouldn't on a podcast announce, right, when I die, because that might be later on, when I die, bound a book.
Well, no, I wouldn't just like to bound any book. I'd like to present my family and next
Harry
of
Potter
kin
4.
With
HP 4.
First edition of my autobiography. Just bound in my own skin. But only face skin.
That's the name of the autobiography as well, Bound in My Own Skin, the Jake Ivor story. Written by Matthew Wright.
Not MD.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that. I think obviously people are looking and go, oh, that's creepy, that's weird.
Yeah. It is weird, but...
It's definitely weird. I think it's more weird because the person didn't consent to it. It was
the weird part is that...
It was just a reg woman.
I mean, the other two examples, the confessions of criminals occasionally being bound on the skin of the convicted, and people requesting to be memorialised for family lovers in the form of a book. Those two things, the person whose skin binds the book is significant in both of those situations. Yeah. But here, an unclaimed mental patient who died of a stroke.
I think that's the creepy side of it. That's definitely a bit weird.
Yeah. I think that Dr. Ludovic Bouland should have waited for somebody else to die to do it. Should have waited for a more poignant
person instead of just a regular.
I mean, it was the 1880s. People were dying all over the place.
Left, right, and centre.
Wait a week and you'll get another dead.
But what's wrong with using just a random person?
Well, nothing's wrong with it. It's just takes away from some of the poetry. Because you say... I mean, he said a book about the human soul deserves to have a human covering.
Yeah.
Which human? Or I don't know her name. I just found her.
That's true. But surely it's not about a specific soul, it's about the human soul as a concept.
Yeah.
And true. So...
Maybe anonymity adds something to it in that sense, then.
It doesn't matter who the person is.
But then if you bound a book about the human soul in human skin, and then 4 weeks later you show off at a dinner party and you realise that there's track marks all over the bibliography, and you realise, oh, hang on a second, this person died of a heroin overdose, and like, I've just realised I don't know anything about this person. Hang on a second, there's a tattoo here that says "Love Mum."
Yeah,
You know,
people do that. I don't know a person, but I have encountered a person whose parents have their granddad's tattoo like framed.
Yeah, that's weird. Like a bit of the skin.
Yeah.
That's so weird. Have you seen it?
I've not seen it, like I don't know them that well, but she's like, yeah, it's a bit creepy. And while it is a bit strange, like
human remains, that's what's strange about it.
Like if it holds some significance and the person has consented to that, or as the next of kin, you can decide what to do with that body, and it's legal, then what's wrong with that? I imagine this wasn't legal.
Oh, it must have been. It was the 1880s. Fuck it. Who cares?
Yeah, it's a long time ago. We used to rob corpses and stuff in those days.
Yeah. And that was legal, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. But
I think no, but yeah.
Is it legal now to put into your will, when I die, you can give your body to science?
Yeah.
Can I say, I want my this and that? You can make yourself a ring. You can become...
Let's Google.
You can shoot yourself into space. Can I say, I want my skin to form a small little poof? For my kid to rest his feet on.
Who has the right to make decisions about your funeral? I'm Googling now. I'm trying to find out what you can legally do with your own remains. Oh, there's a lot of words here. I didn't expect that.
Because as long as you're not a burden to the state, I don't think it matters.
Yeah, they'd be thankful for it.
Because it comes back to the whole private property argument, is that if it's in your will, you should be allowed to do anything. And as long as your next of kin go, yeah, alright then, whatever. If they go, I don't want his head stuffed and put on the front door.
But that's what he wanted, Mary.
Well, I go, fuck him, I don't care what he wanted, he was alcoholic.
Yeah, but, he was also a member of the Neighbourhood Watch, so...
Oh, that's true, yeah, put him on the front door.
He voted on the great pamphlet disaster of 06. He voted no, they went with yes, and we all know what happened there, don't we, Mary? So
pamphlets everywhere.
Yeah, too many pamphlets. Accidentally printed off 500 when they only need to print off 50.
So we all got 10.
Yeah, we all got 10. 9 in the bin.
It's a waste of trees.
Yeah. If it wasn't for Nigel, then that would have been a bit closer to happening than it was. I mean, it did happen, so really Nigel didn't
Nigel was a bit of a waste of time.
Yeah.
But at least he voiced his opinion.
Yeah, he tried. That's more than I can say for you, Mary.
I was too young to vote. Dad died when I was 6. Don't care.
Yeah, I'm not going to read this. Hang on, I'll just read the last paragraph of this article on human race. I've not vetted this. This might get us nowhere. What's the bottom line when it comes to control over descendants' remains? Preference is generally given to the descendants' wishes. However, no, decadent, not descendant. Decadent, what's that? Decedent. Dead person.
Yeah.
I'll just go with corpse.
Yeah.
I say corpse. Precedence is generally given to the corpse wishes. However, no one has an absolute right to dictate what will happen to his or her own remains. Because of their quasi-property rights, the corpse's next of kin can overrule the corpse's wishes and make the final decision for the corpse, unless, of course, the court denies those which based on public health concerns or the norms of society. The norms of society.
Well, there was a case recently around here of a Hindu who passed away, and in his will he wanted to be burnt on a pyre.
Good, terrorist.
He wanted to be burnt on a pyre in his garden.
Yeah.
And so they went ahead and did it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were like, well, that's bad. And I think they got taken to court, but it was fine. But I think you should be able to do anything. Who
Is that a
cares?
big Hindu thing, burning on a pyre?
Well, they all go to the Ganges, don't they?
Not all of them.
All Hindus are cremated.
Yeah, but not...
Not all of them go to the Ganges, but they're all
Yeah.
cremated.
Right.
That's why, have you ever seen those pictures of the Ganges?
Yeah, it's full of dead bodies.
Full of, like, literal floating dead bodies.
And then
People
50 yards
washing
to
it.
the right, people brushing their teeth.
In it, yeah. But I think you should be allowed to do anything with your body. If you and your next of kin consent to it.
I don't know, though, because what about... I think you should be able to do anything barring things that harm other people or get in the way of...
I'm not saying that if I die tomorrow, I should be allowed to be put on a pike and put in the front garden.
Like if I say...
Because that's going to offend other people. But if I want to be burnt, or if I want to be turned into X, or if I want to be bound in a book and given to somebody, who cares?
Yeah, but then if I was to say, right, I want you to bind books with my skin and then leave them on train seats. then
Yeah,
that'd be
I'm
a
not
bit
going to
weird.
do that.
Or if I said stretch the skin from my testicles over the front window shield of a bus.
Yeah, but that's interfering in others.
Exactly, yeah.
That's the difference.
Yeah. I suppose that's quite a black and white issue, really. It's quite cut and dry. That's another thing we've solved today on TLDR.
Human remains, what to do?
Yeah.
So you found a corpse.
What next? A 7-step guide with those great guys over at TLT Podcast.
It's like WikiHow. How Wiki? What's it called?
WikiHow.
Yeah. Shit name. It's not catchy.
Open my disc tray.
Not like
last day.
TLDR.
TLDR's great. Very catchy. TLDR, the Internet Digest. Works. Means something.
We've done 2 episodes quite nicely
Well, do you have anything else to digest?
in a couple of days. Not really. Bieber went mental this week. You see that?
Did he? No, I didn't see that.
There was footage of him released when he was 14,
Yeah.
singing about joining the Ku Klux Klan, and he was just dropping N-bombs left, right and centre.
Yeah. I did see a video of him making a racist joke, but I just thought it was a video floating around. I didn't think it was anything that happened.
No, he obviously just recorded himself on webcam. I think he was 14. Basically just... I don't know if he was doing a cover of a song or singing about the Ku Klux Klan.
Mm.
But it didn't go down well. Obviously. Yeah, he joked about joining the Ku Klux Klan.
Joked about it.
Yeah. He was 14 though, so...
Well, when you say he went mental this week, did anything happen? Has he commented?
Well, it leaked out and he was like, oh, sorry guys.
Oh, is that what he said?
Yeah.
Alright.
He has since apologised in a Twitter statement.
Oh, a Twitter statement. A
Calling it-
tweet, I think.
A childish and excusable mistake.
Doesn't sound like that came out of his mouth.
He issued an apology for using racist language. He used many N-bombs, joked about...
Nigger,
Ku
that's
Klux
what an
Klan.
N-bomb
Yeah.
is. For those who don't know.
He changed the lyrics of a song, One Less Lonely Girl, to crack a vile joke about killing black people.
Let's think about what that might have been.
I'll tell you what it was. It was One Less Lonely Nigger.
That's not... It doesn't really work. He's messed with the rhyming scheme and the rhythm.
In further controversy, the singer apologised this week for posting a picture online from a visit to a shrine in Japan that honours convicted war criminals.
Oh dear. Oh, Bieber. Justin Bieber. Nobody fucking needs ya.
Wanna know why?
I'll tell you why. 'Cause you're a little cunt.
Just stealing other people's
Yeah, that's
content.
from a different podcast.
Good podcast, though. Go and give it a listen.
It's called TLDR, the Internet Digest.
Yeah. Available iTunes, Stitcher.
We don't need to give Hollywood Babylon listeners. They've got if anything, they should give us some.
Us some, yeah. We should get a shout out.
We should go to their show. When is that? Next month? Or is that this month? Have we missed that?
I think it's this month.
Fucking hell, Jesus. I remember saying months ago, oh, I'll buy tickets tomorrow, I think, just to be on the safe side. They might have sold out.
Should I have a look?
In fact, it's really likely that they have sold out.
Yeah, I imagine they sold out within days. Sunday the 29th of June, the one in Birmingham is.
Is it?
Guess how expensive those tickets are?
Weren't they like 30 quid?
Yeah, like 35 quid.
That's not too bad. To see Garmy and Smitty.
Hashtag Garmy Strong.
Yeah. So if they're sold out, are we on for that? Is that on? Yeah. We'll go anyway.
We'll find out. We'll find out after the show's on air.
We'll go. Let's do it now. We'll go. We'll take the mic. We'll say, right, Smith, you're on air. Are you going to deny a couple of young, up-and-coming podcasters into this venue? What is it, O2?
Yeah, O2 in Birmingham.
He'll
Do you
say,
want balcony unreserved seating or stalls unreserved seating? Balcony is
please.
£6 cheaper.
balcony then.
Let's have a look. There are no seats available.
Oh, that's weird. Stalls then. I'll go for stalls. The
There
more
are no
expensive.
seats available.
We'll go. We'll stand.
Yeah, we'll just turn up.
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
Oh, that's annoying. I was looking forward to that months and months ago when we first heard about it. Well, I think we should do a live show.
Yeah, what we'll do is we'll sell out the theatre in the park.
The local
Yeah, Abbey
Theatre. Yeah.
We can. I know we joke, but we can so easily do that.
Let's
it's not
do it.
even difficult.
Let's do it. We'll sort that out at a later date. I say that. We won't. Obviously not going to happen. Do you want to wind down the show with... You were talking earlier on about that Facebook status generator thing.
Yes.
Can I do that? What's it called again?
It's whatwouldisay.com.
What-would-I-say. Full stop. C-O-M.
C-O-M.
Enter key.
Enter key.
And this is a website that generates a status from your Facebook statuses. It's sort of... Well, how does it work? Let's find out. What would I say automatically generates Facebook posts that sound like you. Technically speaking, it trains a Markov bot based on a mixture model of bigram and unigram probabilities derived from your past post history. Don't worry, we don't store any of your personal information anywhere. In fact, we don't even have a database. All computations are done client-side, so only your browser ever sees your post history. The results are often hilarious and sometimes nonsensical. It all depends on what you've written on Facebook. And then they give some examples. Go on then, let's do that. To wind down, because we've talked about a lot of heavy shit.
My first one, I admit, I showed you this earlier.
Yeah, go on.
But it just
I'll
says,
pretend I'll laugh.
I have AIDS, guys?
Yeah.
Question mark, exclamation mark. Now, I'd probably say guys quite a lot.
Maybe.
But I'd probably mention AIDS 3 times maximum.
It's a weird one, yeah. I'm going to generate one. Oh, hang on. I've got to do it in my other browser. Generate. I think Mandela is probably on his hand so. Some of them don't work, admittedly.
Mm.
I'm going to generate a new one. This is brilliant. This is brilliant. Wee slidey wipes. That's not bad. Slidey wipes. I've got their second album actually.
As of yet, I don't know who does.
Is that your generator? Yeah. I'll generate another. JK, where the UK gets old, I'll rape you. What the fuck does that mean? Go on.
Rum is, without an emergency. Doesn't make sense.
My philosophy teacher is chainsaw. I might get that tattooed.
Conclusion, fuck birthdays.
Here's a great one. This is something that I post. It seems like. You know, you can't argue with that. I haven't really said anything, so.
What you gonna do? But yes, I did indeed fuck.
GOTY isn't actually a police will shoot him money. He will one day turns up. Some of them don't make
Some of them
any
don't
sense.
work. When I wasted watching Wife Swap and have increased 300% recently, Courtney. None of the words next to each other make sense.
This one is probably my favourite sentence I've ever heard. I'm trying to defend the alphabet.
Jelly tots, 74p for a few cold ones with narcolepsy.
This is the best one. This one that I've just generated is the best one that anyone's ever going to get. Is Bombay mixed foreign? Question mark. 34 must know scarf knots.
Yes.
Sounds like something we do on TLDR.
I can get tickets to one Hollywood Babylon show. It's the double header.
I thought for a moment that you were reading out a generated status.
The screening of Jay and Silent Bob's super groovy cartoon movie, followed by Hollywood Babylon podcast.
Yes.
But it might be Hollywood Babylon podcast, and then it just says Q&A featuring Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes.
Let's do it. We'll ask him.
It might not be Garmy.
I don't care. We'll shout out a question.
Oh, it is joined live on stage. But
what do you think about tfcpodcast.com? Do
you love it?
Yeah. It's great, question mark. Oh, this is a great one. This is a great generated one. These are all gold. Whatwouldisay.com, these are all gold. I think the internet has quite advanced Alzheimer's disease. I mean, that's quite good. How much are those tickets?
£23.50, but they are rear standing. Like, we couldn't be further away.
Right. Rear standing.
And it'll be like a 3-hour show. We'll probably just cut this out.
No, that's not going to happen.
If the stage is there,
Yeah.
we would be there.
Not great, no.
There.
How big is the stage in this picture?
The word stage.
Oh, right. Yeah. We're about a mile away then. Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah, we'll deal with this later.
We might as well go, and then if we don't like it, we'll
Run away.
Pick up some Gorg chicks. We'll just say, yeah, you know what, I'm a podcaster. And be like, oh my god, my vagina. And then we'll have sex with them. Thanks for listening to TLDR though. It really means a lot to us.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Every episode. And next episode,
Just the same, really.
apart from we might not talk about booking tickets live on air, maybe we will again. And if we do, I don't apologise for it. Use the code name TFC on onit.com.
Squared space. If you want to make your own website.
Squarespace or even Squarespace.
Yeah.
Either or.
Squared space, I would say, is better.
It's not. Yeah, it is better. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Morrison's. They